Yo, what is up? What is up? Let me just do some stuff. Let me just do some stuff over here. We're going to be having a quick live today, just making sure everything is all right. Everything's going to be all right. Let me just do one quick real thing over here. Okay, all right. Roy, what's up? Come on live, but don't fucking do your stupid voice changer thing. Let's go, Jason Vassell. Did you hear the InvestCorp stuff? Yeah, I think InvestCorp it sucks. I don't want InvestCorp. I definitely do not want InvestCorp. We'd be overpaying players. We'd be paying players crazy wages that make no sense. Yeah, am I a fan of Jerry and Mr. Jeff? No, I don't like Jerry. I am definitely on the Redbird out train. I don't like Redbird. I think Redbird is the worst management that this team has ever had, in my opinion. It is the worst ownership that this squad has ever had. I hate the current ownership. I want them to fail completely, miserably, but I don't want InvestCorp either. I mean, I like the fact that the club wants to create the sustainable environment, the sustainable business where the club can actually pay for its own players without going in debt. But you have to create that system first, and it takes time. It means right now we have to bite the bullet. I like that idea, but I don't like Redbird. I think Redbird, what they showed this winter market, especially with Zaniolo, is like, come on, seriously, you're not going to put out 5 or 6 million to get Zaniolo. I mean, this is the stingiest or worst ownership I've ever even heard of. But I don't like InvestCorp either, because with InvestCorp, we'd be paying Zaniolo 50, 60 million and giving him 5, 6 million. It's like we need something in between. You get someone like InvestCorp, yeah, okay. In the immediate, it sounds good because they're going to spend a shitload of money on players. Guess what? We already saw what happens when we do that. Players get tied to these crazy contracts. It becomes impossible to get rid of them, and then they don't even perform. And then you have these teams that don't perform with crazy ass contracts. We would literally have the same players, except we'd be paying them double and they wouldn't be performing. And then in a few years, Milan would have to fold on their debts, and it'd just be a mess. It'd be a complete psycho mess. Berlusconi, he had to sell the club because he was overspending. Not Elliot. Yang Gong Lee had to fold on his debts because he was overspending. The exact same thing would have happened with InvestCorp. Exact same thing. What we need is somewhere in between InvestCorp and Jerry. Somewhere that, yeah, we're going to be diligent and we're going to not overspend and just put the club in complete financial turmoil just to have immediate success, right? But not be fucking stingy. Yo, Redbird out. Hashtag Redbird out. How dare you guys come to Milan and treat this club like this? This management sucks. I hate this management. It needs to go. This management is the worst ownership I've ever had to deal with. Redbird out, Redbird out, Redbird out. Unless you guys offer me a job, then I'll be Redbird in. Um, what's good with you, fam? How you doing, Haitian Montana? What's up? We need to protest Elliot. Nah, Elliot did good, man. Elliot did good. Elliot, Elliot. Maybe Elliot shouldn't have sold us to Jerry. Jerry is just the worst. I hate Jerry, dude. I hate this new ownership. Jerry is literally the worst thing that has happened to AC Milan in I don't know how long. I hope you listen to this, Jerry Cardinale, because I don't know. I know that sometimes some of these guys listen to AC Milan content. They go around and they try to see what the fans are saying. I'm telling you straight up in your face, what you did this winter is embarrassing. You made me feel embarrassed to be associated with you. The fact that you didn't give Maldini what he wanted, what he asked for, as regarding Zaniolo, shame on you, Jerry Cardinale. Shame on you. You will not be liked. The fans will not be behind you. The fans will not be behind you. You and that stupid board of people that own your company. Shame on you. You guys are going to. You guys are going to. This is not Tolois or whatever the fuck that club in France is called. This is AC Milan. This is a whole different ball game. This is a whole different ball game. Um, if you don't deliver victories, they will hate you. They will hate you. You will not be welcome. You'll not be able to even step into the city of Milan if this is how you're going to behave. You're not going to give Don Juan Maldini freaking what? Freaking 6 million? That's what you're. That's what you're for 6 million. This is who you are? Hell no. I understand if you don't want to pay a player, overpay a player like the English teams do. English teams will fucking pay 100 million for a turd. They'll see a turd lying on the street and they'll be like, "Oh, I'll pay that turd 75 million," and and the fans will be, "Yay, yay, saving football! Fuck the Super League! Pay turds 75 million." But you're not going to even put 6 million to get Zaniolo, a player that we need right now. Man, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Seriously. Shame on you. A disgusting, absolutely disgusting showing this winter. Freaking Redbird out every day, all day. Yeah, you do not have my support, Redbird. You do not have my support. I'll support the team, of course. I'll support the players. I'll be behind the players. I will be behind the players. But you do not have my support. You do not have the support of any of the Milan fans, Cardinale. This is not Tolois. This is not fucking the Yankees. This is not Boston Red Sox. This is not American sports. This is not a franchise team. This is not. Let's go in, guys. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat, guys. The link is in the chat. If you guys don't, yeah. So Redbird 100% out. You're disgusting. I don't like you. Get out of AC Milan. I'm telling you, Jerry. I hope you're listening to this. You will not be welcome in that city. Okay, you will not be welcome in that city. If you do not put together a winning team, you will be despised. You will be despised, Mr. Jerry. You don't understand. You don't understand. Look at who the owner was before you, Berlusconi. The reason why you spent all this freaking money to buy this club is because of this, Mr. Cardinale. Look at this shit. Because of this, Mr. Cardinale. Yeah, because of that shit. This man here put together winning teams. He put together winning teams. Your fucking stupid strategy of not even wanting to spend a dime in this winter transfer market, saying, well, the transfer market I gave you for the summer should be good enough for the whole year. Bruh, this is not the Raptors. We are not the Raptors. We're not the Milwaukee Bucks. This is AC Milan over here. This is what matters. That silverware, not your stupid freaking. You don't even have your Jerry. Why did you buy this team? Why did you buy this team? Please sell this team right away. We don't want you. We don't want you part of the owning the squad. We don't want you owning the squad. I'm not going to give the squad a dime. I'm not going to buy any of the merchandise. I'm not going to. I'm going to unsubscribe. I'm unsubscribing from the AC Milan YouTube channel. I've already done that. I'm not going to give you a single dime because you do not deserve it. But I'm going to be behind the team. I'm going to be behind the team. Forza Milan, no matter what. I'm behind Pioli. I'm behind the players. I'm going to be behind the team, even in this worst period in AC Milan history. I'm still going to be behind the team. I'm not going to be like all these other guys that are going to be like, fuck Milan, fuck this. No, I'm going to be behind the team, but I'm not behind you, Mr. Cardinale. I'm not behind you. See, this is the legacy we won. This is the kind of ownership we won. Elliot brought us a trophy. He brought us a good project. But what you're bringing us is absolutely pure, absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. So I don't know what's wrong with you, Mr. Cardinale. I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know what you were thinking. I think you have no idea what you got yourself into, and you should be ashamed of 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 uh, of even daring to buy a club like AC Milan. It's not working. Oh, hold on. I mean, Nathan signed in earlier. Why wouldn't it? Hold on. Let me send it again. How's the microphone sound? All right, guys. Get in. Get in. Let me know if the link works. Hello.
Yo, Roy.
What's up?
Yeah, I think the main problem was because I don't think it highlights no more and like a direct link. So I had to copy the link to like actually the web to get in. But yeah, I was listening to your rant, which is a good one. I approve. I agree
All
with
right.
you. You know, I was behind Redbird, but at this point, our result and all that, it might sound wishy and now it's meant. Even though I still believe they're gonna give us a stadium, but it's kind of like really pissing me off about the whole movement, and it's I don't know, bro. I agree with you.
Hey,
It's
listen. Do me a favor. If you want to rant, go ahead or say whatever you want. Someone is calling me. I gotta take this call. I'll be right back in like 2 minutes. Give me 1 second.
okay.
If you want, just talk to chat or say
Yeah,
whatever you want. Whatever. I'll
yeah,
be back in 2 minutes.
okay. So yeah, how you guys doing, man? I just woke up, but feel free to put some stuff in the chat. I'm, man. I don't know. When I see, I don't want to say that even the Premier League, it's just more other teams, right? Like when I see that certain players that I feel we could have got, and we're not even able to get them. So I'll give you guys an example. When I look at a novice, even getting a novice on loan, right? To get playing time PSG. How is that Nottingham Forest gets to get him? Well, we could have got him and he could have still played Champions League with us, knowing that he wanted to leave, right? How can we not facilitate those operations, right? When we don't. It's not like we need to buy new players, but Manya is out. Okay, bring Navas in so Manyan can kind of heal. You can bring in somebody like a Navas. You can go and acquire him on a dry loan. Period. We can get some players on dry loans, right? And it's not like our team has like a plethora of players like Chelsea has. We was like we're damn near spread thin. You know, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe we don't have those players. Maybe we don't have those spaces. I doubt it. I doubt it, and not even budging in the market at all during the winter time. It's really telling, and we're struggling, and there's no hope. It's kind of like your house is burning on fire, and you're not even bringing in a fire extinguisher, let alone the firefighters. and they're asking you to still kind of kill the fire within your home, which it's a bit stupid if I had to make that analogy. But I don't know, man. It's depressing, and then if we lose I don't even want to think about the type of game we're going to have Saturday. I'm still Sunday, sorry, for the derby. Still going to be behind Milan, but man, it's just tough. It's just tough, and I think this whole situation, what it amplifies more is the lack of investment, and I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. Lack of investment is probably one of the biggest things right now. I think that's what it amplifies. Not even the state of the club or only the club, what we're doing on the pitch. Yes, it needs to change, but I think the overall lesson you get out of it when you look at it immediately and then what pisses you off, it's just more the lack of investment now. Like you go back to that excuse, and which I know I was against it. I was like, oh no, let the team go. Jerry's doing some work in the background, which I still believe they're still doing. But man, I don't know. I'm still a fan. I'm fickle. So if we're not winning, I'm gonna start being picky and looking at every detail. And that's where we are. That's where we are, man. That's where we are. I mean, Lord Cardinale, you talking about appreciate Jerry and being supportive. I mean, I supported him. I supported him a little bit, but man, at this point, I don't know what our league is going to even turn into, right? I look at it in the long run. I don't know. Do we get to the levels where we become like just a farm league? And when I mean a farm, it's like we breed talent and send them out, or what happens 10 years from now? Serie A, and that's how I'm looking at it. So,
what are you talking about?
Him, but not sure. I just responded to one comment I saw earlier that says like we should support Jerry, and I've been supporting him. It's just it's But so I was saying, Roy, while you were going, I was saying that I was one of the person, and I admit it, right, and I still stand on what I was saying, that there might be doing some outside work that we're not aware of, but man, it gets right now with the state of the club, right, especially on the sporting side, when we see what's on the pitch, you can't be blind to the fact we haven't had any investment in now, right? It amplifies that aspect now. You understand? If we're winning, or if we're on cruise control, we're still getting results, you're not too bad. But now with the state of the club, that becomes like the biggest excuse, if I can use that term, that you go towards to like, yo, why there's not even no money. And I was talking about somebody like a Navas, right? We know we have a goalie problem. We could even win and got Navas just on the dry loan and just let Mayan sit out. We could have got him on the dry loan if we know we had a goalie problem. And we know that's one of the problems. We could have get a couple of players on the dry loan that we know they're coming back from injury. And you let them sit out. Now, yeah, you would have probably broken the deal. Okay, who's covering the salary or who's doing what? But if we're not going to redeem them, shouldn't be an issue to be able to get us through. That at least could have been done.
What's Navas's deal? It's a dry loan?
It's a dry loan, man. He's going back to, he just wanted the playing time. And he's accepting to even go to somewhere like a Nottingham Forest.
Oh, my Lord.
So we can't even do that. And I'm looking at, even for that Chilean kid, right? Somebody that's supposed to be Chile's next big talent. You throwing some mere $5 million? They don't care. Like, they're not going to take that. We can't even bargain now no more. Like, we just find they're not going to take it because they know next summer another club is going to come and get the kid for 13, 12 million. Why the hell would they take your $5 million?
Yeah.
And that's how the game got rigged, right? It's like now, I mean, look at that Argentinian kid. Because before
Fernandez.
No, not even Fernandez. There's a new kid Man City just signed.
Who?
New kid, he just signed and he just got added. Was it Peroni or something like that? He just got added to the Champions League list. He just got signed. So now, before, these teams weren't getting played. Like those teams in Argentina. Yes,
are you talking about Alvarez?
Not Alvarez, man. There's a kid that just got signed.
Another one.
Yes, Man City just signed him and he got added to the Champions League list. Hold on, I would Man City Argentinian kid, Argentinian kid. He just got let's see, Man City. Let me put. Is it Perone? Hold on, I forgot I'm saying his name right. Perone. I hate being as a search.
Maximum Perrone.
Yeah, Maxime Perone. Yep, he signed from Vélez, and he's going to start.
Wow.
And that's at the because before those type of clubs before. You go Argentina, maybe Brazil started to get a little bit messed up, but the direct big transfers like that, even for those unproven kids as we can use, they weren't getting the big clubs wasn't even looking their way, right? So like smaller teams, let's say like a Genoa can go over there and just get them, right? In Argentina and bring them over to Italy, and then they get the exposure. Now forget all that.
Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore.
Now Man City's personally going over there now. So now clubs that never had that type of personnel or staff walking in, to their headquarters, they're getting that now. So you as that, let's say as a Sassuolo or Cremonese, for example, right? If you went there, they're not looking you, they don't care.
No.
The Argentina is going to understand all I need to do now, before it should be a 3-step route for me to be able to get Champions League. Now it's a one-way. I just actually need to prove myself in the academy, maybe play a couple of games. Man City's going to come and get me, or somebody's going to come and get me. And now the clubs, they understand that. Now they're putting the big price tag. And I'm using this as not just for that kid, that Chilean kid. I'm looking, okay, they said that he's the next hottest thing that's coming out of Chile, the next big talent. And you think you'll be able to bargain for $5 million. And I understand we're not supposed to be making these risks anyway. They're improving, but don't expect pushback. And the offers you improve from what? From 5 to 4? It's I don't know, man. It's
bad.
And that's why I said the way I'm looking at this, right? What's going to be the status, right, of the future of all the other European leagues? Period.
Because
in 10 years.
Because EPL spent more than all the other leagues combined, something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean Chelsea alone spent what, over 800 something like that million. I looked at the prices from Lukaku all the way to now, since last summer, the past 2 years, it's spent over out to 835, 845 million, which is but that it brings me to my other question. Right? Yes, you have to spend. Now, will that Chelsea model help us as Milan convince our owners, or it's going to be actually a catalyst for our owners to be like, yeah, we definitely ain't going to be spending like that, because they did a draw today, and if results are not being produced, and that goes around, the
That's
English media and all that stuff.
Second draw in a row.
Yep. They're going to be like, well, you're talking about this Spain like the other club, but you're not getting results, And that's more, I know it sounds dumb, but more for somebody that's not in the sport, that's in the scope they look at things. You see what I'm saying? Somebody's in the sport, they're going to know you still need to spend. But somebody that's not too much involved in football, we don't have to, right? Which that can be one argument, but in our case, it's a thin line. You can have a really deep conversation and go back and forth, but I definitely do think we need investment, because I also think you have to build.
I mean, we're not even asking for like,
indeed not.
What are we're asking for pennies, literally. We're begging for pennies.
And that's the way, and that's the way too. But why? Baby Cardinal saying, okay, we don't have no stadium. Why are we going to be spending our money there, on these players? And you can have a back and forth with him, but I'm really intrigued to know what's going through his head, or what's the actual vision, right? Vision on the sporting side. On the sporting side, what's their vision? Because on the outside of the sport, meaning the players and all that, we kind of have an idea what they want to do with Milan. But on the sporting side, what is the vision? And I think that's what all of us lack of. And due to the less spending, we're questioning now, like, okay,
Yeah.
We know we're not in the loop. We're confused. When they
Yep.
said the enemy sends you confusion, we're a bit in that frame right now, right? On the sporting outside of the pitch, we have an idea what they don't do in Milan. Okay, get the sporting project, commercial revenue, all that, cool.
Yeah.
But the when it comes down to the players, the investment from the sporting, do you want to bring us to the next level? Is Cardinale coming on and be like, hey, you know what? The next 5 years, I want Milan to win Champions League and do such and such. And that's the difference between Berlusconi or previous owners than that. I give you an example. Somebody like a Napoli president, right? You look at De Laurentiis, he's making it seem competitive. He's making it seem competitive to be like Napoli is going to become a global brand. And it's like, no, we need it. I'm invested, so we need to win something, right? And I think that's the type of owners, not De Laurentiis in specific, but I'm talking about like the mind frame. It's the type of owners that, football fans want. You understand? Investors want the type of owners that Cardinale is, right? All these shareholders, they want guys like that. They don't care about you winning the league. How can you generate more money from your revenue? It's kind of like with Chelsea. That's what they're going to be doing, right? Because I don't think Todd Boehly came in and, we need to win and we need to do such and such, right? Yeah, and he's probably going to have that. I mean, he owns the Dodgers. The Dodgers is not no sorry-ass fucking team. So they understand.
Wait. Todd Boehly owns the Dodgers?
He's co-owner. Yeah, he's co-owner of the Dodgers, man. He has
I can't believe I gave that guy money. Jesus.
He's like 20 or 30%. He has stake in the Dodgers. He has stake in I was looking at hold on. Let me put Todd Boehly. He was frustrated. His facial expression today was kind of funny, by the way. He's like he couldn't believe his eyes. I'm like, come on, bro. You go get a bunch of superstars and put them together, and some of them need growth.
Did you watch a game?
No, I didn't. But I was just saying like the news on it.
Oh, okay.
And he was losing his shit. He was losing his shit.
He's at the stadium?
Huh?
He's there at the stadium?
Yeah. He's usually there.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, the dude went to school. He went to school at the London School of Economics. So I'm pretty sure he has relations with the Brits.
Okay, I see.
He just didn't pull up to. Yeah, so Chelsea co-owner and Dodgers co-owner. Yep. He has Dodger, and he has like another industry. So yeah. So he came.
At least he's there, though. At least he's there. He's being present. But this, I didn't mind Elliott, but I don't know. This is a whole different thing from Elliott, man.
No, but the thing is, Boehly is an individual, right? Yes, he might have a backing behind him, but he's at the forefront. You understand? Us is not really. Jerry Cardinale is not. It's Redbird Capital.
Exactly.
You understand? He's their face, but it's Redbird Capital. It's another Elliott again. Like Todd Boehly, he's the guy at the forefront.
But I was expecting a little bit more. Like honestly, I've never been someone that I liked what Elliott did. I understood that Elliott does not give a fuck about sports. I know that. Nobody needs to tell me that. Elliott is not a sports company. They're about buying collateral and then profit, and then trying to profit out of that collateral. Right. That's their business. But at least they fucking put money into creating a profitable endeavor, which it kind of was. It became a profitable endeavor. But what the fuck is Redbird doing? Like, what? This is.
But I think the problem also, right? And I think the difference between it got to the point now. I don't think it's never a good sign when your owners don't even live in the country, and it's kind of like a Man United effect, right? Okay, you go and get what's his name, Furlani, that becomes the new Gazidis. Okay, yeah, fine, right? But if you're not close to the vote where you can get the money from, and it has to go through this like process thing, and the world of football moves quick, or we need to secure this guy. Now you have to hop on the hotline, call such and such, maybe American hours, maybe we need to get this through the pipeline. Other teams are not sleeping in the meantime if they're going for the prospect, because you decentralize this whole leadership. Like, you don't have somebody that's quick within access. And when I mean quick within access, yes, you can call them by phone fast, but they're not on site. And sometimes that becomes a problem. because they don't get the feel. You know, they're going based off reports. I don't like that too. I ain't gonna lie to you. They're going based off reports. They're going based off metrics. That's all they look at, and they make their judgment based off that.
Yes,
And when they show up,
that's what I fear,
right,
man.
and then when they show up to games, it's more for symbolic reasons. It's not because they're interested. It's like, oh, it's the derby, so you have to be there. Okay, put that on my schedule, and I'm here at the derby.
Yeah, he probably doesn't even know. He probably doesn't even know.
Go and read. I mean, you go on Redbird Capital right now, and you just read who we are, like the who we are portion, right? Of what the whole firm is about, and the way Milan is interjected in it, it's like an asset. Like the way they say,
it is an asset. Yeah.
And we also own, AC Milan, and it's like an asset. We just
it's being looked as an asset. Yeah.
Fuck me, bro. And it's like, okay.
It's basically like a house.
And that's what it is, right? And I'm looking at all these dorks on the board. I'm like, none of these guys watch the fucking game.
These guys have got nothing to do with football, dude.
And they're always gonna think what's good for Redbird. And the moment Milan is intermingled with all these other assets going at once, right? Meaning Redbird is not Milan's not at the forefront of whatever they have revolving. That becomes a problem because that becomes a problem for the fans. Because because it comes down to our expectations as the fans. If we didn't have expectations, let's say we're like a Palermo, right? And Palermo's fans, don't get me wrong, I respect them a lot. They're crazy, but they're not gonna be crazy over. They're going to be upset about these results, but they're not going to be, investment. No, they're not. The way our expectations are not going to be similar to them, right? So Rebel can get away in that instance, but then also they won't be able to flip that club as much as they can for Milan. And for me, it just more, it's more what's distracting them. That's my question. That's what I'm trying to get if I want to frame. What's distracting Redbird amongst their assets? Is Milan really a priority? Okay, yes, the priority. When it comes down to the sporting side, what is the vision? And I think if we have clarity on that, then we know where we stand, and we're not giving ourselves false hope. And I think that's where my problem starts with them. And the only reason why that even comes back to mind is just how everything is unfolding right now, man. You can only look to pinpoint, okay, dude, we don't got the guys. We don't have the guys, right? And but yeah.
No, it's fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to like give him a chance, but this is obvious that we can already see where this is going. Like, there's no need. Like here in the chat, someone is saying, "I'm going to wait till the summer." There's nothing to wait for. Like, it's pretty obvious where this is going, and it's going to be a rough ride. It's going to be a rough ride. The stadium is the only thing that we can be looking forward to at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing we can be looking to, and because you come and you make statements when you take over a club. So for me, it's not as really as money, and he's not guaranteed, or Jerry has not found like a guaranteed shareholder in terms of like, okay, this is where transfer money and all of that's going to be coming from. We don't have that yet, right? Because all the money right now we're making for the club operation, let's say for instance, maybe it's not money injected, it's maybe money for like, okay, we got Champions League and all that stuff. We're getting the money from there, and I don't think they're confident enough. Like told Goalie for him to be able to go out the way and just go and get these players crazy. He had guarantees with the donors around. He know what circle to tap in,
and also just the league in general.
Right, and the league. There you go. The league in general. So he knows that can come back as quick as possible. We don't have that.
Nope.
Right. I mean, the model. I'm really curious to even speak to international investors that invest in Italy, and sporting aside, because sometimes you gotta get out the scope of sport to understand, to get more insight, to clear the bigger picture of things. And I wonder how it is to when you invest in Italy, right? What are the benefits? What are the issues when it comes down to the taxes and all that don't that stop teams from going and buying things, right? And it's
Well, obviously, it's not as profitable as other countries. Honestly, like I don't know why did this guy get by Milan? Like, what is he trying to get out of Milan? I honestly have no idea, to be honest with you.
But
Like,
I speculate with Vasil. I said, and it's a conspiracy, right? It's my conspiracy. I like conspiracy sometimes
okay,
because we're seeing a plethora of actually American owners that are coming into Italy from City B to City A, right? You look at Parma, you look at Spezia, you look. I think Atlanta is Americans over there, correct? Yes, I believe so.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so you look at that. You look at Milan and all that. I'm like, how about? Or you look at Fiorentina with Comiso, Venezia. I'm like, I feel like maybe all these guys ain't got to get in a little room, and next thing you know, they turn in Serie A into freaking franchise sport.
Huh.
And that's why I started to think about. I'm like, it's too easy for them to all come, and like the freaking group in Roma. I'm not gonna be surprised where they might down 4-3 down the road. They might start pushing the idea like, hey, turn this into franchise sport. We're gonna get new. All the sponsors will be able to come and invest in Italy. We got this model. We'll be able to do this, this, and that. And the reason why I say that, meaning maybe people like the Jerry, they couldn't really buy a team here. They could have bought a team, but it sometimes takes forever to buy, let's say, a franchise team, no matter what sport it is, to come
Yeah.
into the league, because it has to be you and somebody else, right? And all the major cities where they probably can generate the money, they already took, right? Vegas was one of the last standing, cities, but the Raiders already moved there. From hockey, they already got the Knights. From basketball, they got the Las Vegas, on the female side at least, the Las Vegas Spades. And I think it's only the male. If they do bring a Vegas team there, if you can get a team. And I'm saying that because even Miami, see all these teams, even from an MLS perspective, the big cities, which that's where you're going to want to own a franchise because you get more revenue and, you
Yeah.
want to be where the population is. They're already big. When you look at it on the map, from Houston, Chicago, New York, they already took it. Like, you can't bring also a second one, for space and all that stuff. Okay. Maybe they got together. Hey, Italy, we
I
got
mean,
different
listen,
owners.
it's a better system than whatever fucking is going on in Italy right now.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, and they might be like, okay, franchise the top portion, we'll create or a hybrid model, not forced, but a hybrid model where it becomes sustainable. Because at the end of the day, their goal is going to try to make shareholders more happy than the fans, right? But I think the stadium, I assume that's why I'm optimistic. It's going to happen. Like, Americans don't come and put 1 billion and going. No, here's the thing. If Jerry stays past 5 years with this club, we're gonna have a stadium. I'll say that now. Within that 5 year window, if he doesn't stay, he's gonna be gone. He's gonna be gone, and I think it's that. I think it's to try to put all their revenue and have their own entity. And it will make sense. I see, because I look at it, and I know Liar doesn't like when I say these things, but I look at it for what they do with those stadiums. Like, when you think about the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, like in Atlanta, they just created for Atlanta United. You got teams that were born yesterday. I mean, they get brand new stadium and the revenue, but they use it for the other venues, for the concerts, right? When the Rolling Stone comes now, they don't have to perform at no San Siro, but maybe at that Milan stadium, because they can bring Rolling Stones. If they do tour again, they can bring Rolling Stones into America. Not the mayor of San Siro, they can. And I feel like that might also be a clash of ideas because, okay, those are the Americans. Who's going to be able to fill up stadiums? A lot of these American artists or whoever they decide to bring, right? Or maybe Laura Pausini. I like Laura Pausini. Yeah, she might go over there and just fill up, that area. But it's not going to have nothing to
That's
do with
one
the
of the
city.
reasons why it's fucking almost impossible to build a stadium in Italy, because you're taking away money from the government.
Right, with the government's already spread fucking thin. When you even want to go into the economics, what even happens along Southern Europe, right, which Italy is part of. So there's a lot of factors, and I think that the crisis of 2008 has a lot to do with the downfall of Italy. Like, it's everything simultaneous that happened that's just freaking killing killing the league, and then that Juve scandal does no better. Because now, how do you explain a team like Juve that had their own stadium, had their own revenue, they're caught up in a scandal of plusvalenza, right? They're caught up in a scandal of, oh, they didn't have enough, so they had to fake the books. And so what does that even say? You know, what even Ancelotti said with Napoli, right? He said, how do you expect a team like Napoli where the roof is falling? All the stadiums on or Daniel World War II freaking stadiums, bro. I know I'm exaggerating, but it's crazy.
True.
So, and I know sports plays a big part in the life of Italians, and I think these you know, these how you call that, like these politicians, they see it. Then if you don't want you don't want to privatize the sport of city, then subsidize it, because that also plays a big portion. I won't say entirely of the economy, because when you actually start going into numbers of football as a whole, it has nothing to do with the overall GDP of a country. Like, it's not that much of a factor, to be honest. But I think it can trickle down a lot of stuff. You know, tourism is still going to be a big thing in Italy. You get better stuff in, you can increase numbers there. And I'm pretty sure people, I'm just speculating. I'm just thinking that at my client level, but I'm thinking at that bigger, the people that get paid the bigger bucks, they're thinking on that whole frame, like, yo, this is what needs to happen. This is what needed to do, because, you know, Italy still has clout, you know, as a country. It still has clout. And that can be leveraged, right? That can be leveraged, but just the state. And believe it or not, Europe is going to need Italy Serie A to go up. I mean, for the future, period. Like, the whole, just the Prem is not going to be sustainable in the long. I doubt it. Because there's either people they're not going to be passionate no more going forward. You need Serie A to survive, though. I think UEFA they understand that. You need
no, UEFA does not understand that. UEFA does not understand that. Perez understands that. UEFA wants to keep all the money for themselves. UEFA's the enemy. I am vehemently against UEFA.
No, I don't. UEFA and FIFA, I'm not a fan, because they're really. One thing I understood, that this whole Super League debacle, they're really hypocritical, man. They're really hypocritical. You stand firm, and a lot of fans, okay, whoa, the Super League is straight. How can you think that? They want to kill the sport. Investment. I'm hearing all the different players that are coming out. And at the beginning, a lot of us got caught up in that whole emotional wave. But then you sit back a little bit, you regroup, you detach yourself from your emotion, you look at it, you're like, wait, you're actually hypocritical. But because you're getting all the funds, it's like when you're not part of the conversation, you're kind of hurt. So now you turn around. So I've seen some English pundit ex-players, oh, you're gonna kill the smaller teams, the pyramids in England. If you create a Super League, that's a death of sport. But when you look at it in the overall, y'all doing it to the rest of Europe, and fair share too. I think the Premier League deserves to be where they at. I agree with that. The problem becomes when you start nitpicking now, when you start criticizing the substance of the Super League. You guys turned it close to that model. Now going to UEFA, you complain about that. You turn around and you have a league format Champions League starting next year. Right? And that starts next year. Like a whole group format similar to that. It starts next year. You're doing it. You look at now FIFA, you were like, oh, FIFA's gonna step in. We turn around now, we're talking about a World Cup of the clubs with 32 fucking teams. That's hypocritical.
Yep.
In the mix of the Super League, y'all were complaining. Y'all sneak around and y'all create, just to try to combat that idea, y'all have similar. When I mean similar outcomes, because at the end, it's the outcome that matters, right? You want the money, you want the revenue. Y'all created 2 extra new tournaments for that. Champions League, not per se, it's too much of a new tournament, but it's the hybrid model they created as a Super League type. Because you're going it's almost like a league. It's not the group stage no more, any of that. FIFA, now you're putting now a 32. I mean, what are the 32 teams that are going to go and partake into that type of league? Right? And that's also going to kill domestic competitions, because now are you going to have like the Cremonese be able to afford to be in the semifinals of Coppa Italia, right? If other Italian teams have to share now a calendar where you're going to have to go participate in a World Cup of clubs, right? Doesn't that kill or give less importance when those tournaments occur to those domestic like the FA Cup, the Coppa Italia and all that? Does it not kill that?
Yeah.
Because then the teams are going to be like, why the hell am I playing in Coppa Italia? I'm not going to have a lot of money. Let me go do this stuff. And I'm just using the narrative here, man. And it's like, that's why I say it's really hypocritical of what they're doing. And who gets the short end of the stick? Italy, the rest of the world that cannot afford or doesn't have the top tier.
And Italy does have, of course, Italy has its faults, right? I mean,
yeah, no, for sure. And I'm right now, I'm not trying to like really blame, but I'm looking from the outside looking in, because we done spoke extensively about what Italy did, or how they can solve it. But we're looking from the outside how it's going forward. It's that's the way. So those have been my thoughts on this, man. And hopefully I'm gonna finish through this book. Like that soccer economics, I have the 2022 World Cup edition, so it's really recent data and recent stuff that I'm looking at, and some really interesting findings that I'm seeing, that I'm amazed, that I'm really surprised.
What's the most surprising thing you've read so far?
Oh man, the Milan lab one, which I spoke about, that was really crazy. The Milan lab prior to 2007, they're explaining. So for the Milan lab back then, in early 2000s, we had like the best lab across Europe, period, right? And they said one thing Milan lab was good at detecting is one technique they had. Any new player they used to sign, they used to have them jump. That's one of the main techniques. Milan lab was known for that. They'll have them jump. And just jump. Like they'll do like a big jump. And that jump, they're able to tell, like, the muscle status of a player, right? In the long run, short term, they can tell if you have problems by doing that, and they can detect that real quick, right? And that's when they'll know to sell a player. And the reason why they were using that, they was trying to they correlate that to why Milan failed, even until this day, one of the oldest teams to win the Champions League in 2007. That wasn't a fluke. Right? It's just they had a good lab at the time. When you have all your players during that time, when you look at Maldini, Nesta, they were already past their 30s. I think
that's a good point. Like that team was freaking old. What happened to this? What happened to Milan lab, dude?
So Milan lab. So what happened after that is when we started going to problems. After everything starts after the financial crisis of 2008, man. So you have to cut down the funding significantly on that lab. So the guys that used to be there had to get let go. At least the think tanks that were able to forward.
They all went to England.
They I don't know where they went, but they cut the funding, and it shut down. The program shut down. It became really subpar. And it makes sense, because when you see people like Costa Cuta, when you try to understand somebody like Nesta, as much injuries as he had, they were still able to play, at least, for that time. It shows you. And then you start thinking about somebody like Pato. His stuff got, his injuries, because by the time his injuries started like to accumulate, the lab was no more, because we're going through financial problems. And then it leads us to selling a Thiago Silva and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. That was one interesting fact. The other interesting one I was looking at, Arsene Wenger, right? Arsene Wenger, what he used to do, how he used to buy players and why he used to sell them and why he used to go to youth. They say he's maybe one of the first coaches to adapt the whole philosophy of data and football together. He understood that at a certain age, because they say he studied economics in school, so at the university, and one of the main things he was good at doing is be able to predict. He knew at a certain age he had to sell players. He didn't stay with players that were fast-paced based in their late 20s. He got rid of them. And they tell you about how Thierry Henry at 29, he was out of there. They sold him to Barcelona, right? Because
it was a very young team. It was
because he said he understood that people at their school, he said players which have their game plays based on speed, By the time they hit the late 20s, early 30s, it starts decreasing. That becomes
yeah,
a
of
problem.
course.
And he said the older a player gets, the more immovable he becomes. You cannot move him. Not because he can't lose his place in the team, but in terms of like the salary. You don't renew these guys because now you're stuck.
Yep.
So somebody like a Leao, you want to like the next, like even if he resigns, the next one you actually want to get rid of him. You don't want him to stay until 30. If his game is based on what it is right now, you want to get rid of him after that. Because then he becomes slow. And he said the only forwards that are exceptions were Drogba and Ibrahimovic, because their gameplay wasn't based on based on speed.
Yeah, it's
So they were
basically
able to have a longevity in the game. And that's one of the correlation, which I feel you know these things, but
like
you got people that write them and they correlate them, they put them into an argument, and then like you realize you're like, oh, I never thought about this. And that's how Wenger used to operate, and he used to look at the numbers. But they advocate so far in the chapters I'm reading that you need data and you need that sporting side, right? And they gave the things about the blondes, which is really funny. Blondes. They're like, why do scouts tend to get blonde players?
Why is that?
Blonde and blue eyes.
Why?
They said it's a cognitive bias, because you look on the field. He said outside of Scandinavia, which you're gonna find any of them where that's where you can do proper scouting, and other places they're gonna stand out because physically, with their hair and all that creates a cognitive bias because they don't look like the other players. Automatically, when you look at them from afar, it's kind of you step in somewhere, you see somebody in almost like an eccentric attire, and
that's in the book.
In your
That's
lenses.
in the book.
Huh?
That's in the book.
Yep, it's called Why Do People Prefer Blondes? Yeah, it's funny.
Really?
Yeah, with blue eyes, and they said that they've seen now, based even on surveys, that scouts will go, and the first thing they'll be looking at, they'll look at a player with blonde hair. Sometimes they're just average as fuck.
But why?
But
I don't get why.
They're caught up by the looks first. They're caught up by the looks. It's a true thing.
But, it's like this is a European scouts. Like this is a
European scouts. They say outside of Scandinavia, like they go. Like let's say they went into the south of Italy. The blonde player, they're gonna start paying attention to him more compared to the other players on the field because he stands out. That's just a thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's in one of the chapters. It's in one of them. Why do people prefer blondes? Which is really, it's really interesting. There was a man. Hold on, let me. It's and so far I'm on the chapter 1 is a bit really long because I read the prologue and it's a kind of thick book, but I gave myself the end of this month to finish it because I just finished like a Yakuza book, which was really interesting. So I'm trying to move sports now to keep the balance. But yeah, bro, it's really interesting. They talked about Raiola.
Is that why we got CDK? Is that why we got CDK instead of Vicha?
Yeah. So whatever projections they did, I'm pretty sure they did that.
Jesus. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did that. I'm pretty sure they did that based on projections, and they speak extensively about the dude that created Moneyball. They speak extensively about that guy in Indiana, like how he was in the major league, and that's been the model. And that's been the model. Like a lot of Europeans been trying to implement. Some people got better at it,
but not England. England is not implementing that.
I think Brentford and Brighton did a good job at it. I think
the smaller clubs.
You need to have the smaller clubs because at the smaller level, I think about it in the military terms. They say when you're usually small, you become more efficient. The smaller clubs are always going to be efficient because they don't have currency behind them, right? Like they become efficient. They have the right personnel to be able to do it better. Like Brighton, if you know their policy, they said they don't keep a player. Like they don't keep a player for long. That's their policy. They don't keep a player for long. I mean, he hits peak, and they're gonna be able to sell him. And dude, they got some gems, man. Like that Mitoma kid I spoke about. We spoke about during the World Cup when you were asking who stands out, and I'm like, dude, that the dude Mitoma, like he's good, and they know like next year he's gonna be the one to leave. I think him and Moise Caicedo, they leave, and they're also fucking up the how you call that shit market. They're messing up.
What are they, 6? Like what? They're in
Brighton,
Europe.
actually, Brighton, they're fighting for they are fighting for Europe. They are fighting for Europe. They're on their way actually for Europe. That's why De Zerbi didn't want to let. And De Zerbi's been doing a good job, man. I mean, he got doubters. I listened to the pundits. They thought he was some fluke guy coming in. Oh, is he gonna be able to do? But dude, De Zerbi,
bro. If Ranieri can fucking win the league in England, my left toe can win a fucking league in England.
And they spoke about speaking about Leicester City in the book. They spoke extensively about Leicester City. They said one of the main things that they noticed is their solid, like their defense. Right? It wasn't the attack that gave them the league, and because they were trying to make an argument on defenders.
Oh, okay.
And they said their defense. If you look at the whole scheme of Ranieri, they gave the least shots on goal to the opponents.
There you go. So,
and that's one of the main things that they were able to do, because they're trying to show, okay, how did they win the league? Because they said in terms of goals, they were really low. You know, they weren't the scoring team. Really, really low. But defensively, he was able to structure something, which it's really, really, really interesting, man.
Yeah, and also they had like some key players that then they sold. I saw that team perform. I saw that team against in a friendly against PSG here in LA. It was an interesting team.
Yeah, so
very muscular team. Very muscular team. Like everybody looked like they're being fucking WWE. While in PSG everybody was skinny as fuck, and Leicester instead everybody looked like they 100 pounds or 100 kilos of muscle, but the ball was always, with PSG. PSG won 4-0.
Oh, yeah, PSG. One thing, man. PSG, they benefit from their population. They benefit from where they're located at. You know, they benefit from that too much, because, and that's why they're gonna be. I reckon they're gonna be another top academy, because before, the French kids, when they used to go to Clairefontaine, they'll be willing to leave Europe after Clairefontaine. But now PSG is much in the mode. They're gonna want to stay home, and all these banlieues, and they're gonna be like, you know what, get me through there. Get me through that PSG pipeline. I will accept being there. It wasn't always the case, in France. And I watched the French league for the fucking longest, bro. It's fucking, yes, PSG was there only in the classic, like the French Classical, yeah, but Marseille was, first team to bring the Champions League there. People were more
Lyon,
and then Lyon had probably one of the best runs I ever saw. At that time, not no money related, just organically a club propped up and become successful. Because prior to Lyon hitting on that run, the biggest club in France was Saint-Etienne. And then you had, before Marseille won the league, right? You also had Nantes a little bit, but those are like the big team. But Lyon, they hit the ground running because their academy is structured properly, is organic.
Yeah.
Right?
But now PSG is going to dominate that league for the next 20 years, probably.
But another team to be on the lookout, they're doing some good work, is Lens. Lens is doing some good work. I mean, they're doing some good work. But in France, they do also understand that it's not going to make their league sustainable if you have one dominating power like that. Like, where the gap is that big. So they're going to try to balance out. Either they're going to try to bring other investors in and make their league now competitive, because depending on the French market, you can bring some guys in and be able to prop up the league, get at least 2-3 teams be up there, right? Because I agree. But PSG, they might suffer.
Is Lens second right now?
Who? Lens right now in France, I don't want to say Lens is second. Ligue 1. Ligue 1. Ligue 1 Uber Eats news. The standings we have here. No, Marseille is second, and then Lens is third. Monaco fourth. And there's only 5 points between Marseille and PSG, and 6 points between Lens and PSG. So nothing is guaranteed. And 51, 46, 45. Monaco has 41. So it's well balanced right now, man. It's not.
Wait, how many points does PSG have?
51.
And the second spot?
Second spot has 46.
Oh, wow. Well,
so it's not that. Yeah, because PSG's been dropping points as well. So
that's weird. How the fuck are they dropping points?
They're dropping points also because you got to understand is at this point, it depends on the motivation of the players, right? It's damn near like scrimmage games, right? And the games they're using as scrimmage, because they're not losing points against like the top teams, right? They're losing points against teams like you think they're beatable, but those teams come in. It's more like, oh, we're going in the scrimmage. I don't want to get hurt. There's Champions League, and you're getting caught off guard. You know.
Did you see this story of Sanchez? He's not getting any time.
I mean, I knew that would have happened. I mean, when I look at him going to the squad, I never believed he would have been that starter.
Yeah.
I mean, what they were expecting, the way they play, the way they operate, it goes two ways. Either Sanchez play, and he's not going to be playing in his formation, or the way he likes playing, going up front. Because when you have goal scorers, like 3 top elite goal scorers, like they're tier 1, among themselves alone, those goal scorers, they have to share the goals. You consider this, you Sanchez, consider yourself this guy that goes offensively, try to get goals and create. Well, you're not even doing that at all. Because you got a Messi, you won't be able to hog the ball. Meaning,
yep,
you probably have no more than 3 seconds on the fucking ball. You need to pass that fucking shit.
So
right?
you should. And there's voices saying that maybe Milan is going to pounce on that. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't because it's, as a club, what we did with Donnarumma and all these guys, you have to stay firm. You got to stay on, as they say here in the South, stand on business. You have to stand firm, right? Why would I want to even get you? You see, you have been underperforming. Now, if you go to Milan, you're going into Milan's ball. Like if Milan said they're going to be paying you $2 million, you getting paid $2 million or $1 million. Then so be it. Yeah, you can come. But I won't even want to get him because, I mean, he's already been injured at least twice being over there at PSG. I don't. No, bro. There's other profiles we can go and get. I mean,
too
those
late.
are not.
He missed the train with us, so
yeah,
he wanted to go over. Like he, how the fuck did he not know? Like, come on, everybody under the fucking sun knew that he wouldn't be getting playing time over there.
It's just the agents, the agents, the agents. The way they operate, man. It's more
money.
From my understanding, the way they operate, it's insane. It's insane, and he doesn't understand, right? They want to be part of this project, but you got little to do. And a lot of these guys move to these teams based on the World Cup.
Yeah,
based on the World. Now the World Cup is not there no more, and I think one of the main reasons could have been also we're in the World Cup year. Doesn't want to go to Italy and adapt to a system where he might not be a starter. France, there's already familiarity. He's been in France for so long. I can stay in France. It's just going to be continuity. I'm going to be with guys. So he probably had insight that Gaultier was going over there, right? He had insight that Ocampos was going over there. So you see what I'm saying? That's family for him.
That's probably the reason.
Let me go there, right? Because they know, they speak among themselves. Let me go there. He probably called Leao. They spoke. Because I know players are going to be like, how does he play? What's the system?
Yeah, because Leao wanted him to come to Milan. He was liking the posts of him being linked to Milan. So I'm sure they spoke.
Even Magnan, they speak, but they understand like, I'm going to go over there. It's the World, and the World Cup was that close. It was a winner World Cup. So people want guarantees. Now, you don't even get called to the World Cup. So now, here we are. And now I'm seeing reports also for Pogba, right? Talking about they're thinking about rescinding now his contract.
Oh, yeah. Like, he might not be available for another 2 months or something like that, right?
Because mentally, he's already, wrapped up. That's it. He doesn't care. Like what was the reason he went to Europe for the World Cup? He had to do surgery. The World Cup is not in sight.
Yep.
Why would I really want to be here? And there's nothing really around Juve right now that's even keeping people happy.
Right.
To be like, oh, you know what? I want to stay here and play for this club, or I'm mentally ready to come. You know, at this point, people like Pogba, they got the clout that they wanted. And when I mean the clout that they wanted, he was able to get fame through not only sport and his talent. He got the World Cup. Like, he can go at ease, right? He can understand, like, yo, I can retire today and I'll be satisfied with what I've done with my career. I'm being serious. And that's, I feel like sometimes the winning a World Cup can be a death, can be a career death when you win it early sometimes.
Yeah, it could be.
Right? Because you win everything. You look at Ronaldinho.
Your stomach is full early.
Yeah, Ronaldinho wins the World Cup. 4 years later, wins the Champions League, wins a Ballon d'Or. That's it. He out. That's it. He loves the game, but what's the motivation, right, to go forward? It's more, I'm having fun now. I don't really care about records or any of that. I want everything there was to win on an individual level, and at the national and at the club level. I want everything. I want La Liga. I want Champions League. You call it. I want it. That's it. Well, you have nothing to say to me, and that's it. And that's a fact. So, right? Pogba, okay, he might have not won the Champions League. He has his Europa League. He had what he faced. He won his league titles with Juve. He has a World Cup. He looks back in his career, 50% of players don't even win where he wins. What does he have to be upset about? It comes back to and you got to assess players based on that, right? I know probably Juve got him from a marketing perspective, but now you're stuck with him. I don't know how long they signed that guy for, but
it was like it's an 80 million contract.
Now the reports I'm hearing is that Man U might entertain getting him.
What?
I'm hearing that. It can be rumors to pair him up with Casemiro, because Casemiro is killing it. Having him even as a backup now, with Man United is becoming solidified now. I think under Ten Hag, they definitely make it Champions League. They're good. They're a structural team. Actually, right now they're showing good signs, which to me is going to be really stupid and goofy, but that's what we're hearing. Yeah, that's what we're hearing.
I mean, I think with his kind of wages, he can only go in a place like that.
Or he probably ends up in Paris.
And you know what's funny? Fucking the top 4 in England is pretty solidified as of now. Like Chelsea might not even make top 4.
No, they're not. I mean, you said they might not make. They're not gonna make top 4, man. All teams right now, they're not gonna listen. Like, I was speaking this morning at work. I was speaking to a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
I was listening. One of the main things, right? I was telling him how Liverpool really did some poor transfers, right? They did some panic buys, and Liverpool right now, they're really gambling with their position actually in England, at least for the next 3 years. The reason why I say that, you have a new individual. You have 2 new. I won't say 2, but actually a newcomer on the block, which is Newcastle, that have been doing everything in the most organic way as they can, and they gotten them into top 4. And right now it's not a fluke. Right now they're actually in there, right? You have another one, and that was a preview. That's another newcomer, regenerated, newcomer in Arsenal, which has a really young team. And they're going to be around or be competitive for the next 2-3 years. Those 2 guys, they're coming in. You have Man City that's already solidified. And then Man United and maybe Chelsea might be in and out of that, 4th spot. And you can put a Tottenham be in and out of that 4th spot. Liverpool, out of all the bunch, you look at Liverpool has an aging team. Liverpool has midfield problems.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that the most suffer. Now, they went and make the buys, but what buys did they go and make? And I was talking to my brother this morning. You go and you buy Darwin Nunez, 80 mil. Now he's even coming out. He came out today saying like he didn't know the Premier League was that difficult. Well, I wouldn't want even my forward having these type of fucking speaking like that in the media.
He said that for you?
Yes. He comes out and say that you buy Luis Diaz, probably the only player that hit the ground running.
Yeah, that guy's
He got
crazy.
injured, right? You go and you get Cody Gakpo. He's been really slow to develop. They say he's not a club type player here and there. But those weren't your biggest problem. The biggest problem wasn't the attack. The biggest problem has been your midfield. The biggest problem has been your midfield the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, the cycle is finished with them.
You have a Fabinho that's aged. Thiago Alcantara can stay healthy. And he went there. That was a money grab. You know, y'all were dumb enough to pay Bayern all that money to get him when he knew his career was already done. You understand? You know he's not going to give you a full season. You have a Henderson, old. James Milner, old. And I know they got these new kids coming. Now, you want to go and get a Bellingham. Bellingham in his right mind is not going to go there.
Nah, he's
because
not.
Now y'all putting pressure on him. He's not going into a well-drilled machine. Y'all not going to shield him from the protest, right? What is it he look forward to going into Liverpool? Y'all looking at him as a savior, as a messiah. These players are not coming into these teams like that. They come into these teams like, yo, I'm just going to hide behind. And then when momentum picks up, I can eclipse. And he has a good example for him, which is Jordan Sancho, that played with him at Dortmund, left Dortmund for 97 minutes, went to Man U. Man U thought getting him is going to solve all their problems. Look where we are in 2023. That's to send this kid to a fucking spiritual camp or some spiritual fucking journey in the Netherlands to train by himself because mentally he's not there. And that's somebody years ago, y'all bought 2 years ago, a year and a half ago for 97 million.
Yeah, that could happen to Bellingham as well.
And he knows that. And then with his agent, he's going to be really careful how he assesses that.
And this is the problem with these overpriced English players, that they get hyped so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they realize they're just about average, and they fucking have mental breakdowns.
Right. You know, I was Liverpool. That 80 mil, that 50 million you put in Gakpo, you could have went be like, you know what? I can get an Amrabat, right? I can go and get
Hell yeah. Dude,
I can go and get Amrabat. I can go and get Kissy. That's the people you need to fix your midfield.
Yep. Absolutely.
The second problem they have compared to the other teams, their bench is getting weakened because they're spread thin. They don't have a good bench. And their players are becoming injury prone. There's a difference when if Van Dijk is not there. A lot of these guys, you know, there's a pattern, right? Yeah, last year they were good, you know, they're good, but it's just now Klopp, and I think Klopp is he's really hypocritical. That's why I don't like him, because he came out today. He says he's not going to speak about Chelsea unless he has his lawyer, and he's like, I don't understand how they do it.
Oh, he said that
as well. Yeah, he said that. Like, bro, I'm like, don't complain. You spend maybe not to that extent, but you spend as well.
I actually like he said that.
Huh?
I like that he said that.
Yeah, he'll say that, but he wants more money too. He wants more money.
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, we know how they did it. I mean, it's not a secret. Like they spread out the contracts, etc., etc. But I'm surprised he said that.
Yeah, but I mean, him saying that now, it's like, okay, you said it. What do you think that's gonna do? Your owners are not gonna spend on you. You know, they gave you the players that you want. They haven't hit the ground running. You want more signings.
Yeah, he's saying that just because he wants more signings. Yeah,
he wants it. You know, you want a Gakpo? They gave you Gakpo. You know.
Yeah, right. I mean, they have they have so many strikers. He doesn't have any excuses. Actually, I'm going to tell you this: Chelsea in the Champions League has zero excuses this year. If they're not in the final this year, then this whole charade of spending millions and millions and millions is just a joke. It's a clown circuit.
I think he's hypocritical, because I think the mistake what Chelsea made is you get rid of Tuchel, where Tuchel was needing more players. Y'all didn't give it to him. With this new ownership, you get rid of him, you bring a new guy, and you get him all the players. And it's like you get him all the players, but he's novice to that. He's a new guy. He's a newbie. Potter doesn't know all of this. He's gonna learn with all this system. He's gonna need a full season, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't reckon they're gonna do, because you have a team that they're not paired, they're not synced.
It's kind of similar to the Chinese ownership with me, but maybe this is better, bro. Like they bought better players.
What they did is like they bought they bought all the top prospects in Europe. They looked at the metrics. The next few prospects in Europe they secured, because they bought the other kid from Lyon, right back. fucking Gusto, but he
Right.
doesn't come until next year over there. They left him out on loan. They bought him for 50 million. So all the top prospect that you think teams will go and look at in the next 3 years, like, oh, we need to go and buy him, they went and got them.
They pretty much cleaned up shop.
They went and got them, and I'm pretty sure they did a metrics base, right? And that's probably what he did with his beloved Dodgers, right? You know, those metrics sometimes, you know, they kind of work. You know,
No,
I
they
told you
did.
guys before, you know, I experiment with that in one of our projects when I was in grad school. I did on penalties, and I use the top 3 leagues. I use Serie A. I use England, and I use France. Sorry, I use those 3. I didn't use Germany. And I did you know, more for betting and how can penalty predict an outcome of a game. You know, having a penalty within a game, how does it predict the results through victory and all that? And you know, you throw that. It's a bunch of codes you gotta run, but you come up with results. And penalty does sway an outcome of a game for sure. Right? It definitely will sway the outcome depending on what period you have the penalty. And I removed the minutes portion, but if there was a penalty in the game, the team that most likely had the penalty, you know, what are the odds that they get a draw? What are the odds that they win? What are the odds that they lose? Right? And it's really interesting. The odds are really high when you get a penalty in a game. The for your odds to win increase significantly most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And you can look at the World Cup, right? You can look at Argentina past after starting the knockout phase. Every game they had a penalty, they won those games, man.
Some people are saying that was rigged.
A lot of somebody was telling me that this morning. I'm like, believe it or not, if I wanted the game to be rigged and in favor of a player, it'll probably be Messi. So I'm not mad at that.
What do you? Let's talk a little bit about the Inter clash on the weekend. So it looks like Mr. Pioli is changing the formation to a 4-3-3. I want to say this. I don't have confirmation about this. This is something that I heard a pundit that is in Milano, lives there, and he's on TV regularly. He talks specifically about Milan. He goes to the stadium. He's kind of one of these Pelegatis, one of these Sumas, these kind of people. And he was saying that according to his sources, etc., Pioli and Maldini had a really big clash after either the Inter game or the not the Sassuolo game, the Lazio game. One of those two. I don't remember which one. And Maldini told Pioli to change the formation. That's it. And he basically said, you need to add another midfielder in the squad. It's evident. And Pioli told Maldini, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep on going with my ideas. I think they're going to work. And there was a huge clash. And there was also rumors that Maldini is ready to fire Pioli in case he didn't make these changes. I don't know if I haven't seen I thought I was going to see confirmations of this on the news. I didn't. This is someone I heard him say this. He usually says good stuff. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But anyway, Pioli is changing formation to a 4-3-3. He is abandoning the cam role, so we won't see a number 10. The CDK experiment completely failed, unfortunately. The Ibrahimovic experiment completely failed because he's not going to even be in the Champions League. That's another argument. But the midfield is projected in being Pobega, Krunic, and Tonali. The defense, Calabria, Kalulu, Kjaer, Theo Hernandez. And the top 3, they're saying Salamakers, Giroud, and Leao. But essentially, the one player that is going to be is rotation there is Salamakers. It's either going to be Brahim. There's basically one spot for 5 players. That spot is either going to go to CDK, Brahim Diaz, Origi, Giroud, or Messias. But it seems like this is what he's going to do. So definitely more defensive. I think that's the right thing. I heard reports they're saying that he's going to put Messias in the midfield. I don't think that's true. I think that's crazy. That's true. So I think that this is going to make Milan a little bit more solid. I don't know if this is going to mean that Milan is going to win, but I don't think we're going to be conceding 5 or 6 goals. Maybe it could be a draw, like what Rock is saying. But I do think that this is going to make Milan more solid, and it's going to change up things a little bit. And I think it's what needed to be done. What do you think are the outcome of this game, and what do you think about these formation changes, etc.?
No, I definitely agree with that. With the man midfield, I think I was across all different Milan spaces, and it's been the same. The 4-3-3. Add that man in the midfield, and based on the assets we have, I mean, that's you get for first half. Yes, you want to have that starting lineup. You do want to have that starting lineup, right? Because there's going to be tired legs in there. Afterwards, you can bring the Brahims in now, and they can unlock certain situations and all that. So I think that's based on all the players we have. That's your best of your abilities. Now, I would have advocated for Thiago if it was another game. I think he would have started. You don't want to throw Thiago his debut for Milan against an Inter, and he has the goosebumps. He's getting the pressure the other players are getting through their head. So I think that's the best way. I think the only way we win this game and what we should do is let Inter have possession. I'm being serious, man. Like, it messes up when we have possession. It fucks with us.
I mean, I think, listen, just based on our midfield
Yes.
and based on Inter's midfield, Inter's going to have possession regardless.
Yep, regardless, because Benacer's not there. Yep.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you want that, and, I think they understand. But here, the biggest question mark now at this point is the goalie again, right? Because what's the confidence levels now of Tartarushanu from afar? Because you got Inter players.
Sorry, finish. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have Inter players that shoot, right? I mean, what is it? That's where my doubts is. It goes based on him at this point. Because we can say Calabria is gonna get itself together, maybe, Kalulu's gonna get itself together. Okay, fine, but what is Tartarushanu, right? What is his mental state looks like, from afar? Once he gets that one shot on goal or on target.
He doesn't have Tomori screaming at him.
Right. So what happens then? So no, he had to understand. Yeah, we have to have a 3-man midfield because the whole double pivot. I mean, you don't have your main architects. That complement the whole thing. And one of the main architects is like that proper 10 in that midfield to be able to hold your ball and be able to do that. Because Inter too, Inter is suffering, bro. They're no cute. There's a reason why between Milan, who's at 5th place, there's still a point. Like it's gonna be like that throughout the rest of the league because nobody's been
of course it is.
So they're not. So yes, there's something we can do there. I think it's to gain confidence. I think we need to score first. I think the moment we score first, it brings a little bit, momentum up. And I can't even argue with those starters, to be honest, with the lineup. I want the Salamakers actually to start.
Yeah.
The way he's able to cover, especially for Calabria that might be struggling, you want the Salamakers to be there. And the gap is not as huge, He's more closer. It's gonna be. I can see. I'm not even gonna put a victory. I think we don't get more than 3 goals scored on. That's why I love Forza. Even if
even if as fucking terrible this sounds, even if we don't win and we lose just by 1 goal, at least as long as we look a little bit more solid, then we can get back into the rhythm of things. The league is still long. Forget the Scudetto. We're not winning the Scudetto. Just get that out of your head, everybody. We're not winning the Scudetto, but we do have an obligation to finish in the top 4. We do have an obligation to fight for the Champions League next year. So we have to finish in the top 4, and doing whatever it takes to finish in the top 4 is what is necessary. But I think we will.
Yeah,
I think we will too.
I look at all the teams that supposed to be our competition, bro. Nobody's even running. Like when I mean nobody's even running, like they're not on a run of form. This is a perfect scenario to say, no, you beat Milan because Milan is poor, not because you're good. This is the best example to be able to apply that theory. That's it.
all these teams like Inter, they played against us. They look like the fucking incredible team, but then they lose against Empoli, right? Lazio played against us. They look like an incredible team, but then they have this really poor performance against Juve. They lose against Juve. Roma has this good run against us, but then they lose to Cremonese. None of the teams that we're competing with are these super teams that are going to win every single game. So it's pretty balanced. We do have a team that is good enough to finish second. That is for sure. Of course, we need Magnan. Magnan is going to be back, by the way. He is going to be back.
For the derby?
Not for the derby, but in February, he should be back, and then we're going to have him until May or June, unless he gets injured again. But essentially, we do have the squad to finish in the top four. I think now it's too late to go to win the Scudetto unless Napoli loses every single game they play. But one thing I have a concern about this formation is actually Salamakers. Not because I don't like the player. I love the player. I think he's actually one of my favorite players because of what he brings. But with the midfield being already quite defensive, having the top three, having one defensive player in the top three is you're essentially playing a 4-4-2. So you only have Leao and Giroud and Theo Hernandez with offensive mind, offensive football, offensive qualities. So it's going to be very difficult to create chances against Inter. I would rather him put Brahim Diaz there or Rebic. But
I think Brahim is good at coming in second halves of a game for this one, just to keep motivation for the defensive aspect. The beginning, I think Salamakers will give you that ground coverage because right now, what's our main goal going into this game? Our main goal going into this game right now, at least from a fan perspective, is to not try to get more than 2 goals in the fucking first half, scored on, right? And I think that's a fair assessment we can make. So having players that can really defend, and not be able, because they can win the ball and all of that. It's just, I don't know, and I'm speculating. I'm not even convinced with the words I'm saying because just the pattern of things. But Pioli's job is definitely on the line, I will say, after this derby.
Yeah.
His job is on the line because I think even if they say after the Tottenham, they're going to get rid of him. They're going to, I reckon you can go and get a Luis Enrique in. I was talking, I know Liar doesn't like, I had this long conversation with him. He doesn't like me saying, I'm like, why these coaches are free, you go and you get them. Because sometimes in the market also is about opportunities with these coaches. To come the summer, these coaches are gone now, and you get rid of Pioli. Now you don't know who to look to. Now you got to go breach other teams' contracts. Let's say if you want a Dionisi or you want a Italiano, you got to go pay more money to be able to get these guys while you still got Pioli on your payroll. But you can go get guys that actually,
I will bring back Gattuso.
Guys are free. Yeah, you can bring back Gattuso, but even Gattuso, right? You keep him temporarily because is that what you want to go?
Yeah. If let's say this happens, Milan lose 5-1, and then the next game is just a disaster class. Up until the end of the season, up until the summer, I bring Gattuso because at least we know that Gattuso can really, motivate the players. We don't need someone to come in and recreate the wheel because there's no time for that. We don't have time to recreate the wheel. We just need to wake up the players again. I don't think Milan's going to lose 5-1. I don't think. One thing about this that I think we should be aware of is that Inter right now has a full squad, 0 injuries. They're pretty.
Is it Brozovic back?
I guess Brozovic, is he back? I don't know. I don't know if he's back. But they're pretty definitely much better shape than we are. We're missing Tomori, we're missing Benacer, so that's going to be an issue. But I don't think we're going to lose 5-1. I think it's going to be a close game, this one. And maybe, knock on wood, Milan's going to even win it. Who knows?
But I reckon, I think what we do is Inter, I think next year they're going to suffer, man, because they don't have the funds. Your player and the Skriniar start right? And then Skriniar's going to be in the right head because I think there's already an
He's starting.
imbalance over
I
there.
think he's not starting. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's already committed to PSG. You know, what's the commitment level of that player even being over there, especially with what just happened? He leaves. That's going to be a big replacement, at least for that team. I'm not saying, you know, Skriniar has no nest. I mean, one of the best defensive, one of the top 5 defenders in the league, period. You know, replacing him with who? Acerbi? You know, like who are you going to go and get? Lukaku's going to have to go back to Chelsea? Is he? That's that's actually a question mark.
They want to get Indica.
You know, can Inter even afford to keep him another year over there? So they have some question marks. They're going to have to respond. I mean, Dzeko is going to be what, 37 next year? I don't. It's they have question marks with them in the long run.
Of course they do. They're in a worse situation. They're in a bad situation, man.
Yeah,
they're in a really bad situation.
Their situation. I mean, we're just in a bad form. I don't think our situation is even worse because I think in Italy we probably, other than Napoli, we probably have one of the most stable team. Period.
Yep, exactly.
You know, that's what it is.
We're just going for a really shit moment right now.
Yeah. And by the way, Monza is really an ambitious team. Somebody put Monza coach. I like what Monza is doing. You know, they didn't come. I mean, of course. And when you have people of the mode of the Berlusconi and all these guys, you know, they're, by nature, they're not, how would I say that? They're ambitious people, period. You know, they're going to compete. And you look at Monza is not no easy team anymore. People thought they would go down.
Not me. I never thought that.
You know, no, at the beginning when everybody was speculating, what is the team more likely to go down? You know, you look at
it. I'm just saying I wasn't what part of those.
Yeah, Monza, it's like they're not. And it's you know, and if Monza keeps that up, you know, because Monza, I'm pretty sure is closer to it's in the Lombardy region, if I'm not mistaken.
It's close to me. It's
right.
It's close to yeah.
Yeah, so all these, you know, they were able to create something going on there for the next 3 years. All these kids that used to go into Milan Academy, they might be start going to stay within Monza because they're in the Serie A, right? And you can and they can leverage those players now and cement themselves. And the reason I'm bringing Monza up, that's what I want to see other teams fucking doing. And
dude, but Berlusconi said he wants to bring them to the Champions League.
And we can't with the stat. There's not a big gap among Italian teams nowadays.
No.
I'm be honest, there's not. So what he's saying is not even far-fetched. You give him 2-3 years, you know, you give them even until next year, right? They get closer to the levels of the Fiorentina in terms of like, you know, standings and all that as a recurrent, right? They can become a new Sassuolo. And then next thing you know, they get closer to, you know, the modes of the Lazio and
Atalanta,
and the Atalanta, right? Because the whole Champions League spot for those teams like the Monza, the only teams that are usually in their way are like a Lazio and a Roma, right? You can add Atalanta in there now, but usually those are the two teams that can be in their way because those are the teams that they're more closer to those levels in the long run, right? If you want to look at over the years compared to and history as well, compared to like a Milan, Juve, and Inter, they're always going to be almost like the ceiling, right? To an extent, you know, Benta eras aside, but they're always going to be the ceiling. But if you can override them, like Roma might be struggling a lot, so you can beat them. If you're above those two teams on the table, you're more likely in Europe most of the time, anyways. So
yeah, I think they can get there.
I think they'll be able to get that. I mean, they got something good going on over there. I mean, why you feel about Cremonese going to the semifinals, man?
Did you see what Eastbourne put in the chat?
No.
The last time Cremonese.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. With the Napoli.
Napoli, yep. Yeah,
so basically, last time Cremonese went to the semifinal was the same time Argentina won a World Cup and Napoli won a Scudetto.
Yep. Which is crazy, right? So I think, I think they can win it.
I think it's official. We live in the Matrix. And,
we do. I feel like, sometimes the world is scripted. I think it's doable. I think they will be able to do. I like seeing teams like that I think Sampdoria needs to go down. I think they need they ran their course. I think they need a fresh of ideas. They need to get relegated. I want them to get relegated
Sampdoria? Oh yeah.
because teams like that piss me off. They're not doing what they need to do to help the higher teams, right? Those are the teams I rely on, man. Like getting you fresh players we can go buy from you. You guys are not doing that, and I need them to go down. I need them to go down. That's the team I'm not gonna feel bad. Get the
No.
general effect.
It
Go
looks like
down.
Genoa is coming back up though.
Yep, go down and you get yourself together and you come back up and you're a bit more ambitious. After that, I'm probably going to want Torino to go down. I'm gonna really want Torino to go down because
actually they should go down and we get Juric. I wouldn't mind getting Juric.
They should go down because I feel like they've been riding the wave of mediocrity and they've been content with that shit, and I don't like it. They sold one of their best players in Sasha Lukic, to the Prem. Then what are you doing now, right? It's like I don't know, man. Some of these teams, the way they operate in the market, I'm looking at it, or when I look at it, Verona, they sell all the good players, all of them. And it's like here we are.
I mean, these clubs don't have ability to keep these players, Well,
I think they can have the ability to keep the players if you have the ambition to go forward. You have them. It's not hard. Like have the ambition to go forward at your level. Which is not far fetched for these teams to be like, my target is going to be able to go. My competition this year is Fiorentina. The likes of Lazio and all. Those are our competition. That's our league. We want to get into Europe. When Italy, let's go mid 2000s a little bit, man. When Italy was competitive, right? When we're still competitive, then when I see the likes of Fiorentina, right? Fiorentina competitive because they wanted to get into Europe. They used to compete and they'll go in and they'll apply and they bring in good players to the pipeline. And that's what we need to reinstate that. We don't have that anymore. These teams are just content of staying afloat. That's not fair.
Yep.
That's not fair to the league. Like they're staying afloat, then you need to go down. You need to get relegated. Fight for Europe. This is like they almost give up. This is not American franchise sport either, where you're gonna get a good draft pick the following year because you're just gonna be bad and bad.
Right.
And that's my only beef with that, right? That's my only beef with that. But it's going to be, as far as Milan, I'm not optimistic. Let me say that. I'm not optimistic with these two games with the Fury. And I think we're gonna get ourselves together, right? Maybe once we're out of the fucking UCL.
You think so?
That's when I feel like I'm like, oh, okay, we need and we're gonna go on the run. And
I damn hope not.
And I think that's when we're gonna be like, okay, it's gonna give us hope for the following year, and we're like, let's start fresh. But I think we definitely need investment for the summer, though. And I think one of the main targets I think I would get before I think about a forward is a proper deal replacement. We need it. That's been the biggest elephant in the room for me. Another solid left back, man. We need another solid left back. I mean, we just can't be playing those games going forward.
It's going to be Dest.
No, you didn't hear about Dest got left out the
what the fuck is that
he's
about?
Leaving. They're not going to redeem. Milan's not going to invest 20 mil.
Why did they take him out? Is Florenzi in the list?
I don't know. Let me see. I know they're not going to.
He must be upset.
Who?
Dest.
I mean, bro, you're not performing.
Yeah, true.
You're not performing. I mean, like it's they rather put Thiago in it. They understood. So I'm happy about Thiago getting put in.
Vranks is in it too. I remember seeing Vranks' name.
Vranks, they're hesitant if they need a. So Benacer, Diaz, so Balotelli. Hold on, they're gonna give me the 4. Okay, so the goalies.
Yeah, go ahead.
The
goalies.
Mirante, they got Andrea Bartolini. I don't even see I don't think they updated on the UEFA website yet. Because the squads, they're not even Mañan's not even in it.
No, Mañan is not in the list, but Mañan can be added 24 hours before the next game.
So they got Tiao. They got a young Italian. Okay, they got these young Italian kids from the fucking from Primavera. Okay, it makes sense. Benasset, Tonali, Diaz, Pobega, Krunic, Salamakers, Ziroli. Damn, we got a lot of young kids. Damn, we don't even have a lot of midfielders. That's crazy. 1, 2, 3,
Zanoli?
4, 5, 6. Only 6 main midfielders from like the A team. That's it. We have Giroud, Rebic, Leao, Origi, Messias, Gabriele El Ilali.
Oh, really nice.
Yeah,
Pretty
Jordan
few.
Longhi, Charles de Carler, Federico Maggiamelli,
Hmm.
Gabriele Alessi.
Oh yeah, Aliz is good. I really like Aliz. He's a really good player.
Wow. And they let for the defenders, they have defenders at Calabria, Baloture, Hernandez, Kalulu, Tomori, Chiar, Florenzi. Yeah, Florenzi's there.
Oh,
Tiao, Gabia,
all right. So that's
Dorian
why.
Palosci, Andrei Kubis. So
I mean,
Kubis is in there.
Florenzi should be back soon.
Yeah,
So.
so that's but even Florenzi's not gonna hit the ground running.
Oh no, no
They,
way. Impossible.
it's I think the football gods were against us a little bit because
This year, yeah.
I think we get a good, let's say, we get an affordable team in Tottenham, but we're not in the best of form to be able to play
No.
against. And that's
And
a problem,
Tottenham
right?
is they're very good team.
And,
I just want to say, Hillary Okoli. I definitely agree about Salamakers being in the middle. I would do that too. I definitely agree with that.
yeah, Salmikas as a man marking the dude, he's a fucking tank, man.
Yeah.
He's a dog. Those are the people I bring to battle. I'm not gonna slander it. I don't look at Salamakers in the lens other guys look at him or the purists look at him for. I'm not
Oh,
looking at him for the dribbles or any of that.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
right.
really care.
Looking at him for his work rate and his spirit and his.
And those are the players that I like. Um, One
Let me
thing they
say
add.
thank you to Haitian Montana. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Forza Mila, my man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Haitian Montana. Merci, frère. I hope you're Haitian. One of the things is what was I trying to say about against this Tottenham team, because we're playing in 2 weeks or next week, I believe. It's next no in 2 weeks. Um, man, it can go both ways, man. It can really go both ways. I expect Leao to do
We're gonna
something.
win. We're gonna beat them.
I expect Leao to do something. And Tottenham is the kind of a team that I kind of like. Believe it or not, I like
We're
them.
gonna beat them.
I have some Tottenham jerseys. Yeah, the only it just purely he needs to get his fucking shit together, man. I don't know what Murielli is fucking feeding him. I hope they all get this shit together. He's always there as his fucking twin, sitting there. I said Pioli needed to start wearing the turtlenecks. He started wearing the turtlenecks. Stuff got worse. So I don't
Oh,
know.
is that when he started losing? When he started wearing turtle? Oh, because it's winter. Yeah.
Yeah, he started. I'm like, yo, Pioli needs a turtlenecks maybe, but it's I don't know, man. It's Bakayoko didn't want to move. That's one
Bakayoko is
thing.
having the time. Dude, Bakayoko is the most loyal AC Milan player we've ever had, dude. I love this guy. We should retire his shirt when he finally
Fucking man, he does not want to
moves
move.
out.
Maybe life around Milan is too good.
Yeah, he's having a good time, dude. He's living the life.
Man. Yeah, but it's I don't know. It's sometimes I agree with Milan not being us not moving sometimes in the market. Sometimes I agree because some of those players outcome when I look at the likes of the, let's say, Locatelli, when we're relinked to him again, sometimes I'm happy to see how they play out. I'm happy why we didn't get some of these players because We would have thought they would have been good, but it's just like I'm looking at some of them are just pure. They're just struggling. They're just struggling. I'm looking at Locatelli. He's almost like a
Yeah, he's
shadow
not
of
playing.
himself.
He's not having a great season.
And I don't know if it's because of Allegri or what's going on, but
No, I mean, I think 80% of it is because of Allegri's football, which is just. I don't. Nobody understands his football.
because I'm pretty sure now he looks at it, he's probably thinking, was I better off at Arsenal?
I don't know about that. Maybe. I have a feeling these Italian players really don't care about playing in England and
No, and
maybe Spain. Maybe Spain.
when I'm alluding to Arsenal, it's based on playing style, right? What's modernized, not the hype of the league, but a team that suits your play. That suits your play because the Arsenal plays good football.
Yeah.
It's not per se like when you look at it, Brighton plays really good football, attractive football. And I think it's more that, right? It's not too much of the it's not too much of a, I would say, I want to go play to England. Like, man, I'm looking at Nottingham Forest. They got 30 players the past 2 windows. The winter and the summer. 30 plus players, man. 30. Fucking ridiculous.
I did see an article. Another article did come out recently saying that they are expecting Maignan to be back for the Champions League.
Yeah, and goalies is one of the things you can kind of put the goalie back in anyways. It's not like a defender trying to gauge the play. At least for Maignan, the moment he's available, I throw him in there. Like,
Yeah. The goalkeeper.
And is Sportiello confirmed now to come?
I haven't seen any official. I haven't seen any official confirmations
because he comes. He's going to be free.
Yeah, I mean, what we all know is that Milan want to get him. Man. It looks like it is a done deal.
Yeah, so I mean, you get Sportiello. I'm just starting to contemplate now on our market for the summer.
Hold on, I saw a report saying that Tatarusano renewed until 2007. No, 2027.
No, that's not true. It can't be possible. 5 more years. The dude's already 38, 39. That's not true.
I swear I saw that.
Yeah, but that's not true. It can't even be feasible, man. The dude's about to be 40 like in less than 2 years.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Milan's not that dumb. Like, there's a lot of lies also.
But this was Vitiello that reported this. And then he confirmed it on Twitter.
Nah, there's no way, man.
Hold on.
Do you follow the RossonARI? Like,
no, I don't give a shit.
Football at all? No.
Don't give two flying shits.
I don't know. Sometimes I enjoy women football a little bit. What's
going on with them?
No. I mean, they still try to get for we had that dude, what's his name, Gans. He was just fucking up like that female.
Oh, is he not there anymore?
Yeah, they got rid of him though. No, I like them because they got Aslani. But Aslani, she's old now. And Aslani, she's a Swedish forward. She used to play for Madrid. She plays over with the girls. It's it's not as dominant because the Italian clubs are suffering, so they can't really put money towards them. But I look at some of that stuff a little bit, man. Some of the highlights, the news, what's going on with them, who we're getting. We just got a female Dutch player. The thing about female sport, even in basketball, they rotate a lot because I don't know, there's not enough funding, so they don't have long contracts anyways. So they'll be playing for 3 different teams throughout the season. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I don't really follow the female football
sport. Yeah.
I mean, is there what I like fighting? I don't even know.
UFC?
UFC, like women fighter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really care.
This boy Royce,
I really don't. I'll be honest with you, I really don't. Like, I just
Nah.
don't care.
I watch it just for the love of it. I mean, then I'm still, I'm a guy. I'm still, I'm no sport. But I follow it occasionally and there, see what they're doing, how they're holding up to other teams. But
I
yeah,
think Juve probably what they have the best squad, right? Something like that.
Juve, Fiorentina. But yeah, Juve and Fiorentina for sure. They have because a lot of the female teams too is also based on revenue of the male counterparts. So the better those teams are, the better your female team is. In England, you can see it like Man City, Arsenal. They top. Yeah, so that's how it kind of goes. Yo, that new kid, that kid that Arsenal loaned out. I mean, he's the best scorer in the league. Balogun, he plays with
Donovan?
Reims right now. Arsenal loaned them out. They're forward. Arsenal loaned them out to club side Reims,
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's right now he's the top scorer though, and he's been comfortable, and I think that's what you do. How do you feel? Yeah, I mentioned actually. How do you feel about this Lacetic deal they just did?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a good deal. I think it's if he gets to play and gets tutored by Klose, who was one of the best
Right,
forwards ever. So
good poacher, right? You get a
yeah.
good forward coach out there, less pressure. Cause what do you think as a young? Okay, you at the coach level as a young player. What's the most important? Getting a lot more game time in your legs, or playing at the top level as a young player? Because as
Mm,
players overall, you want to play at the top level. But as a young player, when you're 18, 19 at that age, what would be the more
playing,
carefully advised,
playing,
playing thing to do? Playing more.
playing, and competing against and against, I would say.
Interesting.
So getting
Okay.
getting used to being able to compete against players that are more experienced than you, are more skillful than you, that are faster, that have better decision making. So you learn how to deal with it, and then you learn how to beat it.
Yeah,
I
I
would,
mean,
I
I,
would
I
say
like
that.
where they brought Lacetic over there. I think it's good for him. Dry long, he comes back. But after a while too, I'm gonna be honest with you. We need to us acquiring these young players. It's gonna have a point where now we're gonna have to start throwing them in there, like in our team, because then it becomes almost redundant. Like now, I start wondering, okay, what's the purpose of our Primavera then? Like if none of our players are gonna come up to the first team, how long Shaka Traore is gonna be in Primavera? This I start questioning all these things.
I think they're gonna have to come up because I don't see Milan putting any money towards anybody. So, and I'm okay with that. If that does happen, I'll be happy with that. To be honest with you,
Hmm.
I want to see Shaka Traore come up. I want to see Colombo back. I want to see Lazetic come back. I want to see this Alesi kid that I think is really good. All these other players that they got that they're getting. Kubi's a very interesting player. Aletu, I think is his name, interesting player.
Yeah, that little Nigerian kid or whatever he is. Yeah, it's
Yeah, so I want to see these players eventually, make it into the first team. If Milan can do that, and without us having to buy all these, I'd be actually very happy about that. To be honest with you, I would like
yeah.
to see that.
I hear you. I hear you. And let's
Uh,
see.
Let me answer this question. Why is Zebra not on the list? Honestly, I do not know why, but obviously he's probably not ready. They're
Yeah,
probably
and I think they did that list based on an efficiency going forward. Because I mean, we're in the knockout stage now, so you want to add any asset you'll be able to use during that time.
yeah.
There's a reason why they didn't put Magnan right away, even though he can be added. I don't think there's a gamble you want to go now. Oh, we can't put this player in you know because Ibra's on the list, but he's also not available. Now we only have one attacker. No, you want to go as efficient as possible. So there's a reason why he's not there. I mean, And what big difference does it bring adding Ibra to the list? I mean, it's not like the game against Tottenham is in fucking 8 months. It's like in this literally less than a week. Like he's not ready. He's not ready. There's no reason.
Wait, less than a week?
But I mean less than a week. You know, it's figure of speech, but it's less. I would say less than 2 weeks. My bad.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
What? Let me see what day it is. Okay, February 14th. So 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Yep. So you don't want to go there and add and add him and add him. That's so. That's what I want. Yeah.
Okay, this player here that Chunk has asked us to look at. Yeah, it looks good. What is the left back? So it should be what replacement for Theo.
What about Parisi? We could have got Parisi.
Parisi?
No, Parisi. Like
Parisi. Yeah. That's Gio's guy. You know Gio?
Yeah, I know Gio. Gio funny, man. The air, he got that real South LA, Central LA accent, man.
He's OG for real.
He's a typical LA. When I heard this about my boy, you such a LA Mexican dude, man.
Dodgers fan. I bet he's got the whole Dodgers fan. AC Milan and Dodgers.
Raiders fan.
Yeah.
Right. Usually they go hand in hand, the people that go for these teams, right?
Clippers or Lakers.
Usually Lakers, man. You barely find them Clippers fan. Such a fucking poor franchise.
That is true.
But yeah, Parisi, like he's and Empoli, they do play good football though. You know, that's never the thing I don't understand about these teams. It's you know, they'll play good against the big team. Now when they meet their fucking peers, they're confused, right? You think, okay, Empoli beat Inter. Now Empoli's gonna play Cremonese, but then they lose.
Right.
That's, you know, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and I never understood that. But yeah, I hate them. And when they play Milan, it's just like they turn into prime Juve and shit. Crazy. But I had a question for you. On the whole Juve, like, what do you think the outcome of the Juve is going to be from here on the summer? How you think that impacts the market? How you think Juve is going to be looking next year?
And I think they're going to have to what's the word? We're going to have to scale down. We're going to have to scale down, and we're going to probably have to sell players, and also we got to see what happens with the rest of the sentences, because this sentence that they're been handed on could be eventually repealed. So we still have to see what happens there, but it looks like it's going to get even worse. So until we know for sure, I don't know. My gut says that they're just going to have to scale down, and they're going to probably have to be focused on youngsters, you know, which is probably going to serve them well.
But with youngsters, then you need to bring the right guy in for the project.
Oh yeah.
This is at that time. This is when I think Pirlo should have came in right there. That would have been a more proper time for Pirlo.
Yeah.
Because now you have no expectations or no nothing. Not after Saudi, where you still had almost like a peak team and you bring your men and it doesn't go your way. But I think now, because you bring a new culture idea and you innovate with that, because that's all you're gonna have to do. That's really you're gonna have to do. And I mean, you've been there, so they'll be able to
yeah, we've seen them bounce back and win 9 Scudettis in a row. Damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, man, when the Calciopoli happened. I mean, you're talking about all the top guys from Patrick Vieira to, you know, Ibrahimovic. I mean, God, Lord, bro, the whole squad gone, except Del Piero, except Trezeguet, except Buffon. You know, those are the ones that decided to go to Serie B with Deschamps, and you know, they came back. You know, new guys on the mold, Jovinko, You know, you had what you call? What's my boy's name, man?
Javinko was great. I love that guy.
Jovinko. What's the name? Amauri. Yeah.
Was Amari in Serie B?
No, Amauri didn't come Serie B, but he came after the new mode of. It's kind of like that new crop. You know, the Vucinic and all these guys coming when
Palladino at a certain point played for. I don't know if it was Juve, but
Palladini talking about the coach of fucking
Monza.
Monza. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember him as a player. He was a baller, dude. He was like a winger baller. He had some crazy skills. He was one of these young players that I thought was going to have a really super career, but he didn't. But he was a baller, man. I don't know what happened to him. Why he didn't? Why he wasn't able to?
What am I thinking about? More of my main man I used to like is Fabrizio Miccoli.
Oh yeah,
Miccoli, bro. Fuck
the
yeah,
mafia guy, dude. That guy was mafia.
I used to, yeah, he was mafia for real. Miccoli, man, Miccoli was my guy, dog. Like that dude.
He's skillful, that guy.
I used to like.
They loved him in Benfica. They loved him.
Yeah, dude. What? That Benfica man with Simão Sabrosa, Nuno Gomes. Yeah, that Benfica team. Benfica's been that. There's some teams that you kind of like. This is one of those teams. Benfica. I like Celtic. The Celtics. Class. I also like Celtic for some strange reason. These just teams from afar.
Over the Rangers.
Yes, but I had fake. I was a Rangers fan at a winery. That money, like some OGs. It's like, yo, I got season tickets. You come to my I'm like, yeah, sure. We'll watch Rangers games. But little does he know how to Celtics jersey. I'm like, I like Celtics, bro. But he's like Rangers. He's from Glasgow. Rangers, I like their stadium. Eyebrows, I like it. The Scottish team because I was actually going. I wanted Rangers to win. Like when they were playing against Frankfurt, I was actually going for Rangers. I don't mind them, but I like Celtic. You know, within the league, when I have to pick and choose, I like them. Like in France, my favorite team in France is Monaco. Always been. You know, it'll always be that way. It doesn't change. I'm a big Monaco guy. In Spain, I like Atletico Madrid for sure, among all the other teams.
Really?
Yeah, I like Atletico. Atletico Madrid is almost like my second favorite team because they always had the attackers that I always liked. You know, I mean, you're talking about from Vieri at his time over there.
Oh yeah, he scored so many goals that season.
We're talking about from fucking, you know, having Fernando Torres. Like Fernando Torres ends up in my, you know, my starting 11, you know, prior to the injuries. Kun Agüero, for me, like this whole decade, the 2000s, that's my favorite forward. Favorite, hands down, Kun Agüero, all the way.
So what happens to Simeone after this season? You think he stays or he goes?
Simeone, I think his next job, it's hard. Simeone, Atletico Madrid, it's hard for them to fire Simeone.
Why racist? Why is Atletico Madrid racist?
I don't look at teams in those lenses. I know what they're racist because what they're doing to Vinny Jr. And I agree, it's despicable. But
what happened?
What they do to Vinny Jr. Vinicius Jr. They had he's getting racist chants when he's dancing.
Oh, the fans! You're saying the fans?
Yeah, the fans, and they had a fucking they had like a mannequin of.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Handed on the thing. Yeah, and I agree with y'all, man. The fans, but boy, that shit can be said for Liverpool fans and all these teams we all go for, right? I'm not justifying that, and that's despicable. But I'm just speaking for the team only, you know, as a whole. There are black players that play on that team too at the end of the day, right? And I am black, so it's racist team. Yeah, I agree, but for me, it's always been dumb. You know, to take the power out of the racist is just like don't entertain his BS. That's all I can tell you. But it's don't entertain it. You know it's there. Let him be with his ignorance. That's why.
I mean that's pretty extreme.
As a team. I just like them for what I don't like
what happened. What happened before that? Was there something that happened during a game or what?
he used to go and dance and he used to taunt them. They didn't like it. So then they started. I mean, that's a league I always said. The Spanish league, they use Italy as a poster child for racism, but the Spanish league is probably one of the worst, which is really less spoke about. You know, Barcelona fans are, we can say that about the Barca. Dude, like Spain, they get away with murder. Let me say that. They do. I haven't heard yet in Italy, and they might correct me if I'm wrong, but in Spain they have thrown bananas at black players before. I don't know if that's been
there was this what was it? It was the Verona. So the Verona fans are known for being like fascist and that kind of shit, There was something similar of like a mannequin being hung. I can't remember who it was supposed to be though. It was a while ago. It was something similar to that. Remember Boateng also, his incident?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, you're always going to be black in the state of those fans, but it's, for me, I like Atletico. They have had one of my favorite forwards in the game, in the likes of Agüero, Torres, Falcao, Forlan. Whew. All these guys, those are
great.
I used to like them prior to them joining those teams for what they used to do, and they used to have them, and Atletico always had players that I liked, and I like a little bit underdog teams, and so going back to the Simeone, it's going to be hard because he was able to deliver them 2 league titles. You understand? And the likes of the Madrid, yeah, you can bring in another coach, but what other coach do you bring? You understand? Simeone is almost like a version of a Ferguson on Atletico standards. You see what I'm saying, right? Ferguson was really successful, and sometimes they have the best years, right? Some years like people will overtake it, but it was always competitive. Atletico was always competitive. They've been in the Champions League for how many years in a row? Now you're gonna come and get that out the way for what?
Yeah, but I do feel that in Spain it's basically 3 teams and that's it. I mean,
because before
I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, I say
I was watching like the last 10 years.
No, what I was trying
just
to add.
Go.
What I was trying to add is Atletico seized an opportunity. They took advantage of Valencia's downfall, right? Valencia and Deportivo La Coruña, they took advantage of that big time. That and Sevilla. Because then those are the teams that used to be in there, right? When we talk about early 2000s, I mean, you're talking Valencia, I mean, who could have stopped them, right?
Oh, right. I remember them, yeah.
They go through, I mean, they went
to two champions. We stopped them.
Huh?
We did, remember?
Valencia?
Yeah. The first game of 2003 was against Valencia.
Yeah, that time we were playing in those that's the time we're playing in 2 different group stages. So we'll play the first group stage and we go to the second group stage, and after the second group stage, you go quarterfinals, then the semi. And that was the last year we did that. And then the following year in 2004, that's when you have your proper modern format where you get out the group stage, you go into round of 16 and all that. Because remember in 2002, we played Madrid in the second group stage, I think.
Yeah.
And then we both got out of there, yep. And it's really interesting. Valencia, they went down. Atletico took advantage of that, but the finances of the Spanish teams are not too looking good. I think they need innovation over there too, because they're becoming a bit redundant. The whole tiki-taka shit is not working. They're becoming really redundant because now, it doesn't work. The gap is similar. Like Spain is almost turning into Italy, Madrid aside, right? You can say Barcelona aside, but the reason why I say it's turning a little bit into Italy is because the levels are all equal. Once you go past, when you get to Villarreal and all that, they're still competitive. But what I'm saying is, like, they're a bit struggling. Their demise hasn't been met yet, the way Syria had a crazy downfall. But let's see where it goes. But they're going to be one like us soon. You understand? And they need to market the league properly as well, because it's a bit weak. They need to create storylines. That's one thing I That's one thing. I don't know if Italy does that, but we need to do that too. Create storylines in the league, I think, is really interesting.
No, but Italy, look, in Italy,
Mhm.
like the Serie A is like, it's like a movie. It's like there's a lot, right? It's so in depth, everything, the players, but at the moment you step outside of Italy, it's like complete silence. That's the thing. It's like the product in Italy for Italian people is really good. It's really good. Like the commentators, super high level. The shows after the matches, super high level. They follow the locker room. They talk. There's so much content, but it's strictly for Italian people. So, like if you're in Italy and you're watching the Serie A, it's awesome. It's great. But the thing is, like, yeah, it's just for Italian people, and how do they do that for the rest of the world? I don't know.
No, you do that for the rest of the world by translate. You have here's what my take, right? So I watch Serie A on CBS. That's why I watch Serie A.
Yeah,
I watch Serie A on CBS. Paramount. That's how I get exposure to the league. Bring Bobo Vieri in, and I insist on Bobo Vieri because that guy, he's a god. I used to follow Bobo Vieri when he used to be on the locker room on BN Sport. He has good takes. He's probably one of the
yeah, he
most.
does have good takes. Yeah,
He
you're
has
right.
good takes, and he wasn't a subpar player. Played at the highest level in the league. He won it. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. He played on the top teams in the league. Bring Bobo in. He'll break it down. You have Alexander Del Piero. Why are they at ESPN? You can't tell me CBS. You got the money. Bring them in. Why is it we have no disrespect to Marco, no disrespect to the guys they have there, right? Bring players with clout.
Yeah,
Have them on there and at these shows, right? Serie A, you push that, or Serie A, have a show in English and collab with Paramount the way y'all do it to get a better exposure by, okay, we're going to give you where our English speakers, put them there. And there's a lot of Italian players that are English speakers. A lot of them that they can go. Chiellini. Why Chiellini is still here? Why can't you leverage Chiellini to have them there? And that's why I think Serie A is missing the point because Americans are not going to care. They're going to be always available. They don't really know.
right.
You become the consultant for these American news networks, right? I'll give you an example. What's his name was in media? Comiso here in New York. Suggest these guys.
Right.
We get
True.
exposure because
Right.
it's about creating. Let me tell you something. So you watch. Look what they do with the Champions League. The Champions League show on
Right.
CBS,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. So
You see how
in
fun that
Italy,
is?
it's full
That's
of
what you
shows
do.
like that. Full of shows like that.
That's it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people even watch the show, not even because they're into the sport. They like it because the commentary, the gimmicks that Mika Richards does. They don't have
Exactly.
They have pundits. The chemistry is really important. And when I watch see, they don't have that. It's really dry and it's forced.
Right.
Right. I'm not disregarding their takes, but it's just it's always good when you have a better insight of players that actually played in Serie A, right? They understand it. We don't have that there. You're having people similar like me being on CBS, damn near, right? But when a Thierry is on the CBS, he know what the fuck he's talking about. He'll be able to explain to you. They'll be able to break down and explain to you what's really going on in their head because they understand the culture. Because you also need to understand stuff culturally, right? From a standpoint. Yes, you can be American and Italian, but do you understand the culture like in Italy compared to somebody that lived there or that played in the Serie A, right? And that could have been said with, when Rossi was on the show still at the time, right?
Yeah,
but he left, right? He could have given better insight. He understands. Because at the end of the day, if it's just speculations you're having on TV, it's sometimes it doesn't give better insight and you don't get the audience you want. You understand? And I used to watch the locker room. I'm telling you, Vieri had the good takes. Why are we not going through them?
Yeah. Well, he's Vieri, for example. He's doing Bobo TV.
Bobo TV, but it's in Italian.
But it's for Italians, right?
And I think because if you want exposure, you have to switch a little bit the language. You got to understand, you want the bigger market. Italian is only probably spoken about in 2 countries, from my understanding, which are Switzerland and Italy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, that's not the, and I know that's not the market y'all streaming for. Have the English part of it. It's really important because you're able to get that. You're going to be good going forward. You're going to be good going forward. And it's all about doing these collabs because the world is much, much more involved. And you got to look at it from all perspectives, right? You got to look at it from the African market. What's the main language you're speaking in Africa, right? Outside the tribal language, English and French.
English and French, yeah.
So you're able to even draw these guys in as well. Like, we want to watch that. And that's what you do. League 1 is still League 1.
Asia is full of Serie A fans.
Right? In India, for example, English. You put it there, you're good. Like, League 1 is usually good. And why League 1 is so marketable, and one of the main reasons why League 1 is able to get a lot of these African players is that one thing, like the French, I always respect them too. I don't know other countries do that. They're always good at bringing their players back, or anybody that big players on their league, to go and comment for their games, right? So Thierry Henry, as much as he's on the CBS and he's also coach of Belgium, right? They're still able to bring Thierry Henry to be on the pitch of League 1 games or some of those games as a commentator for Uber Eats, all through the Amazon deal. They're still able to bring DJ Drogba on the league. Him and Thierry Henry. DJ Drogba have played at Marseille, so when there's a classical between that and PSG, they're still able to come, give their insight. You can leverage that. Yeah. You can leverage that, right? You can leverage having even I know George Weah is the president of Liberia. You can leverage having the George Weah come to CBS. The days in America, there's a derby, come speak on it.
Yeah, there's
a lot of people are going to come and see, be like, oh, president of such and such.
I don't think they have the budget, dude. I don't know if they have the budget for this.
CBS, no, they do, man. Come on, they do.
They do?
They do. I mean, if you're hosting the Champions League, come on. They showing they have rights to the Champions League. Right?
Yeah, I know.
And I'm speaking more
maybe I'm saying they don't allocate much budget for that particular.
But it's not about allocating from the sport perspective. Bringing these guys in is always going to be good because you can kill 2 birds in 1 stone. It can be a week. So within Champions League week, like, for this week, we're going to buy you out. Comment on this derby game and then the Champions League game. Next game, there's an Italian team playing. We need you for that. Which they've done. The only reason why they don't leverage is the viewership. That's it.
Yeah.
But I think when the budget goes to sport and towards football, I don't think it's as divided as before. I think they're all part of the same crew because Marco is part of the Champions League coverage when they're in Italy. They're allowed to be on the field and question.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's right.
So that happens. So they can't really
use that.
Correspondent.
Right?
As a correspondent, you're there. So the thing is there, right? Utilize that because and fair game to them, right? It's good, it's new. So they saw opportunity, came in, but to get the better exposure, I think the better plays, the bigger plays you have there, have them comment on there, and you do that, and it takes you to the next level. And it takes you to the next level. It's the way because CBS Champions League, yes, on ESPN it was good. It was good coverage on ESPN. I liked when they were on ESPN. To be honest, the only thing I'm happy why is on CBS because the Champions League is on there, so I don't have to pay for 2 different apps.
Yeah.
But when it was on ESPN, I think it was good. But and I think the commentators really matter, man. Getting good commentators, you have to turn into a movie. You got to be able to market it. It can't be dry, right?
The commentators in the Italian games are so dry.
No, I listen to Suma. I like Suma's commentary. I like him, man. He's really dramatic and.
Oh yeah. But the general ones in Italy, like the
what's that old guy? What's that other old guy that be fucking always screaming? That Milan commentator that be in the blue screen. He's like old and he be fucking. That's a wild guy too. I don't know his name, but he's like a wild. Oh man, he's always they be in the room with a lot of old heads.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. The old Milan commentator.
What's his name? Oh shit. What the fuck
On
is his
this day,
name?
bro. There be a lot of old heads in there, just
Tiziano
like
Crudeli. Yeah, that's right.
mafia bosses, commentators and shit. Be just going crazy.
Yeah, Ibra would be great. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
this player,
so
by the
there
way.
you
Yeah.
go.
Who's this
And
guy?
that's one thing.
Lauren Lucas.
If I'm Serie A, right? That's one thing I orchestrate. You orchestrate that guy. You orchestrate Ibra to the state. You be like, Ibra, you retire. We guarantee. You see what they do with the NFL, right? You guarantee you, Ibra, we want you for maybe this year or the season such and such. You come on, be a commentator. You know how many views Ibra is going to get? I mean, look even what he did when he came to the MLS. How many people had eyesight on that? Right?
Yeah.
You can even go and even propose a Cristiano Ronaldo. He's on break. Bring him in. Start having special guests. Have Cristiano come speak Serie A a little bit on this game Juve against such and such. You're able to do that 2 or 3 times alone. Your viewership is up. You're able to market now TV rights as Serie A. Or create your own. You see what I'm saying? If you're able, because Cristiano played in your league, right? Ibrahimovic played in your league. Those players alone as clouds, you can leverage them just for a little bit. For certain important games, you can fly them out, give them a little check for them to like, okay, we're gonna try to expand the league. You guys can come. Imagine having a thing of the you got a Bobo Vieri, you have an Ibrahimovic and maybe a Cristiano Ronaldo, like just come and speak a little bit. But even having a Bobo Vieri and Ibrahimovic, on the same freaking or with a Del Piero, come on.
Yeah. No,
And what I'm saying is not far-fetched here at all. Not at all. It's doable because they've done it before on other instances, and you can do that, and then there you go, and you're able to elevate, the league even more. Because the Americans that will tune in, they'll be like, "Yo, let me see your Ibra's on," and you create that entertainment.
And also just the quality of the production of the shows but
the quality of the production comes down to, because why do we watch a lot of football shows, right? Yes, we'll say quality, but it has to be as an entertainment. I like watching the Champions League
of course. It has to be the characters, the whole package.
Yeah, and the Champions League one is so funny. Like the jokes they have, the chemistry between Thierry Henry, Kate Adbo, Mika Richards, and Jamie Carragher, it was like the match made in heaven. They have good chemistry.
It's great,
right? And Mika Richards is he's a good commentator because even when he's on BBC or Sky Sport over there, like in England, with Roy Keane, the banter they have, like he's a good type of commentator. It's good, and he played with Fiorentina. You can bring him on.
Yeah, he's funny.
You can bring him on as well. So there's ways to do about it, right? But that's something somebody that cares really much about Serie A at that higher level can advise, can suggest, and they can get those viewerships up. If you're in that department, it will make a lot of sense, right? I don't know. Does he speak English? No.
No.
Because Maldini does speak good English, but he's our technical director, and we're not gonna have him go on.
Yeah.
I don't know about Nesta, but I know Del Piero. The players I know so far: Del Piero, Chiellini, what you call that? Del Piero, Chiellini, Vieri.
Ventola speaks good English.
Who?
Ventola.
He's
on Bubble TV.
What about Nesta?
Nesta, I don't know. I mean, yeah, he probably does speak English. He works in the U.S.
Yeah, because he play. Yeah. So Nesta,
he coaches Miami.
Mm-hmm. And you can leverage that. You can even bring a Beckham sometimes. It's that these people are never too busy to be on. Beckham played in Italy. They're never too busy to come and speak. Right? And even if you want to accommodate to wherever they at, you can always move. Okay, there's going to be a derby of the Madonnina. Why are we doing it in the studio? Oh, let's go do it at Milan Club.
You know what? Where we're doing it for the derby?
Where?
We're going to Boston at some Italian restaurant.
Why are they doing it over there? Like, other meats, that's so stupid. And maybe that Boston firm, that restaurant, put a lot of money to get it held over
It's
there.
in Little Italy in Boston, the North End. I
Right.
don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, but then again, but I felt like the Sunday ground to me is always going to be New York. And that Milan club, like the factory that's in New York, right? In Manhattan, you're gonna get more. You're gonna draw more attention than compared to everybody. Nobody's gonna want to go into that cold right now to go in that little restaurant.
Minus 20.
You see, you feel what I'm saying? Like, have it there. Or the Italians from Philly, Boston. You know, New York is the perfect rally point because it's right there.
I think they are in New York though. Yeah. I
They
mean,
are,
just
but they're in
doing
the
some
studio.
things.
So, you know, it's like, dude, do it outside the way they do Champions League. You gotta innovate. You have to have something new. When you're just in a studio, yeah, they can say the budget, but I don't know, man. It's like if you're promoting businesses or certain things you have partnership with, do it outside. Do it in Brooklyn. Do it outside. The guys are gonna come. You know, it's not hard, man. It's like I look at the other sport, people will be there. You know, it's doable, man. It's doable because it's doable. I think it's just the fact of it's what I'm saying is not even a stretch. It's not, you know, stuff is like, oh my god, like fantasies. It's
And
stuff that
another thing that you have, so Italy, there's this culture of like magazines. Like there's
Mhm.
this these kind of like kiosks kind of places that
Yeah.
is selling magazines all over the place,
Mhm.
and each team has their own magazine. So every week you buy the Milan magazine, the Lazio magazine, the Juve magazine.
Mhm.
Um, you know, like you don't get that, and that of course everything in Italian. You know, it's like
Yeah,
that's another
In
thing.
France, there's one main magazine we call Onze Mondial. That's the biggest soccer mag. Sometimes I share the links and the thing. That that's all I used to get as a kid. They used to
Yeah.
give trophies out called Onze d'Or, that any player will win it. The Onze d'Or trophy. That usually the Ballon d'Or winner usually wins that anyway. Or sometimes you win it, but you don't win the Ballon d'Or. And it's a big magazine. We had that here, but it's not hard. Well, I don't. What I'm saying, I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
it's far
I don't
fetched
know.
because
All they got to do is just speak English. That's it. Yeah.
yeah, speak English and reach out. And I know some other people they want to protect their jobs while being there, but like for the greater good, or either city out, you get your rights. You know, okay, you let the deal expire with Paramount Plus. Whatever new format of deal you're gonna broker on the English side of things, put in your contract that you're gonna have to have these Italian players or Serie A guys that have been inside. That has to be the requirement if you want to be part of that panel of commentator. Have one that's from the outside that looks from a fan perspective. Have a journalist that is from the outside that's from the journalist perspective, and then have a player that played in the league. Not no randoms. Not somebody that I grew up supporting Juve, so I get to comment on it. No,
Mike Grella.
yeah, like you just like, dude, some of the takes is just because the whole sometimes it makes it look so bad. It's like they're all Juve fans on there, and it's like, bro, come on, balance the thing out a little bit, you know. And those guys didn't have the grit of careers, like so. It's like for me, and I don't like their takes. I'm not a fan of it, not even because of Milan, but it's not entertaining. It's too dry. It's
That's
forced.
a problem. It's just dry.
It's dry. It's not like when both men, like both boys, just like he's natural, man. I used to love. You don't understand, dude. I used to be in the military. I'll get off work every time. The locker room used to come on BN Sport every day at like in the afternoon, at least East Coast time, right around 5. And he'll be on there, and that's different represented from each league. That's where what's his name was on Andrew Cordero, the one that commentates on the Milan games against Inter. He's always with Matteo Bonetti. The other guy, Cordero, he will be on that same. He was there with Vieri. They should all be on the line and they'll speak. They'll go different leagues. The main storyline, and it used to be so good. It used to be so good. But
I don't
and
know.
we need that, right? And the way you make also Serie A competitive is having these shows come on when there's no games, a recap. You see
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
You don't have that. We only have it when there's a game. That's when you come and we talk about it. It makes no sense to me. You know, other leagues, you know, you come back. Let's say Monday night. Oh, we're gonna go look for Serie A. We're gonna get insights. You know, You can invite a Fabrizio Romano, and then if YouTubers are able to invite Fabrizio Romano, I know you don't like him like that, but if they would invite him,
Oh yeah, they
channel,
had him on CBS the other day.
Yeah, they had him on, but they need to have him more when there's this big storylines.
Right. He should
They
be
haven't
very
really
much
they don't leverage him enough. That's why I feel like.
and he's like an international guy too. So
no, he is, but at the end of the day, he's still a talent. He's in Milan, man. That's his headquarters.
Oh yeah, he's in Milano.
He's in Milano, like he works out of Milano. Oh. That's where what's his name is too. Di Marzio and all these guys. They're in Milano. So you leverage him on the things. You're like, yo, Fabrizio, we're gonna have time. What you feel about the game, or what insight? Go through, transfer aside, and not to be always transfer. You leverage him, and I'm just thinking out loud. I just feel like they don't leverage these guys the right way, man. If you can't bring Ibra on the field, I know somebody said Ibra was expensive. Okay, have Ibra on, have Ibra on on a Zoom call or something like that. But like, yo, Ibra, can you, when he retires, like we can do these things and it's more fun. But I don't think they care enough. It's probably I care too much, and I'm speaking from emotional base, but it is what it is, man. It's what's his name? I think also speaks good English, huh?
This guy. Sorry. I just want to respond to Chuck. This guy here is quite interesting. I like what I'm seeing from this guy. It looks like he's playing in a league that is too easy for him.
Is he Brazilian?
I don't know if it's because of that he looks extremely good. It just looks like he's playing in a league where he's a category above everybody else.
Yeah.
I maybe that's fooling me, but I really like this player here.
Yeah, he's but yeah, boy, man, that's my only beef for all of that stuff, man. It's
yeah, man.
It's I speak and I try to look at it. As a fan, you start looking from all angles now with everything, and try to read as much as I can. It's one thing as a kid, I wasn't looking at the economic side of things, and then I was looking more, sport, who's winning more scores, right? And then you grow up, and then you look at transfers now, right? Then after you start looking, the older you get, you start looking more at the finance, off the field, who we're getting, and you're more. I'm too vested in Milan, bro. I'm way. It's fucking ridiculous. Like it's just, and I think we all are. Us as fans, really, we're vested. We're able to speak.
It's unhealthy.
Yeah, it's unhealthy because we're able to speak. We're not casuals, I would say. A lot of people, I like Milan too, and they talk to you about Zlatan. It's like, yo, I remember Ibrahimovic time. I'm like, okay, yeah, dog, sure. We're in the Benta era by the time this guy got there, but we're too vested. We're too vested we're able to tell you the owners and all of that, and because we also invest, man. We invest in that team, right? I caught myself. I'm not buying shit right now because I was yesterday. I was online and they're promoting this Rolling Stone stuff, which I'm like, yo, I really want to buy this a varsity jacket, but now I'm like, nah, y'all not performing, bro. Fuck y'all not getting my money. I'm not. No.
I don't want to give anything to
Terry. Yeah. So and all that it matters because it's like, dude, come on. Yeah, but I think the kids are they love the city. I think they love the fans. They saw the love that they got from winning that Scudetto, and I think that outweighs a lot of things, right? And I think they really think deep down, when they lay out. And I think that was something that's the only positive thing we can look at to give us hope is to see how we celebrated that 11 Scudetto and what they had to what's going on now. I think us winning that Scudetto still outweighs it, so it might get them back on track. This dude looks like Seedorf. What the hell? He plays with Vasco da Gama.
Young Seedorf.
Damn. Vasco da Gama used to be a good team. I don't know if they went to Brazilian Serie B now, or what they're doing now, but it's which I do want to start watching the Argentinian league. I just don't have the courage. Because sometimes I watch it, it's like the quality be so bad. They don't play the best of football also. When you look from the outside.
I don't want to watch all these games,
No, I can't.
Are you looking for single Ukrainian women?
Huh?
Are you looking for single Ukrainian women?
Single Ukrainian man. I got a girl, man. Hell no.
Okay, I just went.
These ads. Is that what you're looking for? Go head of Vasil. He'll be your broker. He'll broker you a Ukrainian woman.
He's probably put that ad up there. He's probably the one that puts those ads up there.
Tell Vasil like single Ukrainian, single Christian woman. All this single this and that. Who plays this? What Brazilian? He plays with Monaco.
I don't know. Chunk here
Yes.
wants me to see all these Brazilian players.
He plays with Monaco. Or Venderson Oliveira. Monaco, you can always trust with the way they scout.
You know,
The Brazilians that usually play with Monaco, they tend to go to big teams afterwards. You know, they have a good record with Brazilian players at least. That's what Mike Conn started. I remember Mike.
Moncada is being. Moncada is.
Yep, to become director over there. Yeah.
Yeah, his contract is expiring, and Marseille is trying to. No, sorry, Monaco is
Monaco. Yep, that's where it was, man. That's where it was, and
trying to get him back.
I think we keep him. I think if I'm Milan, we keep him because if you're gonna get rid of him, bro, you gotta bring in a good ass fucking scout. You're gonna have to bring a good scout. I think Moncada is a good scout. You know,
Yeah,
it's just the conclusion, or I'll say the way they the final decisions on the scouting are poor. Not from him, not from his part. Whoever's making the final decision, maybe those are poor. But I think he done us well. I don't have no mistake. You know, against when they say our scouts are poor and we don't have good. I'm like, bro, I can't really say that, dog. Like the amount of players we brought in.
Great. Well, Nathan doesn't like our offensive scouts.
Nathan is too much of a purist. Nothing satisfies my man. Yeah, he gonna be like, why would we get him? It's Moncada's been great to us, bro. Like you don't understand, you know. If it wasn't from Moncada, I don't think people like the Leao and all these guys we're even getting somebody like that, especially in the position we were in. So it's and you wanna go on the French market because the French
cheap and there's good players.
Yeah, French market you're always gonna benefit from a plethora of people. Right. I wanted to bring another point I forgot to tell you. I mentioned this early, like in one of the streams back then, that one of our biggest fear is having these players that are dual national and they start naturalizing to go play for their parent country, as Africans. Country? Yeah, like so wherever they from. So like, you got these dual national players that were born in Europe, but they're from African descent. Next thing you know, all your team is going to the AFCON. And look what happened to Brahim Diaz now. With the reports he's going to play with Morocco. Right? You have Adli joins us. He switches allegiance from France to Algeria.
But as long as they have that's I mean as long as they have the European passport, it doesn't matter.
No. I'm not speaking from the European passport, babe. I'm talking about when AFCON comes around.
Yeah. You have to lose. As a matter of fact, freaking Napoli with Anguissa and Osimhen. I mean, those are two like pillars of a team.
Yep. Next January, they're going to figure that out, right? And they're going. When you look at so Brahim Diaz, let's say we redeem him, right? You're going to be left. Kalulu is a matter of time before he start thinking like, yo, maybe I'm going to go play with Cameroon. You say, I'm telling you. If Deschamps is there for the next 5 years that he's not being called, Cameroon comes in knocking, he looks at what Cameroon guys is going on, Kalulu's like, I'm going.
You think so, yeah?
This is going to always happen. It can always happen because Kalulu needs to look at the pecking order, who's above him in terms of like, who can I go and replace? You understand? Like the defenders they were able to put, yes, there's a slot open with Varane now, right? But he's down the pecking order because Varane going, I think that gets placed to Saliba to play now, right? So you might have a starting lineup of Saliba, Upamecano, or Konate, right? And Dika comes and perform, like Kalulu. What are the odds of Kalulu going up? Like, nah, if he plays right wing is debatable. You still got Koundé that plays on that side. So he's sitting there also assessing, seeing these guys that are above him and the clubs they are and at what level. If he sees his level doesn't rise, like he still wants international football, he understands him going to play at Cameroon is still a top nation in Africa, right? You still kind of guarantee some World Cup, African Cup of Nation, like, yo, I'm going to play, you know?
Yeah.
And then this how you got to start paying attention to those type of players that come to our team, because now you catch yourself 3 years down the road, African Cup of Nation, and then 40% of your team is going.
Yeah, I know. We have that issue with Benacer and Kessie last time.
Right. So this time you have Benacer,
Balotelli.
Adli, now Brahim Diaz. Right. And, you know, I mean, Balotelli doesn't really play to put him in the mold, but
yeah, I know.
So and then Brahim Diaz, he's going to definitely be a starter on that Moroccan team. Right. And speaking of Morocco, people are really upset that Unai guy, like, he was 10 million. Marseille got him.
Watch this again. Huh?
I said Unai, like the Moroccan player.
Oh, yeah, he scored a great goal, right? Last game.
Yeah.
Didn't he have like a super goal last game or something like that?
Yep. And then he went to Marseille for 10 mil. But he was available.
Anwar was pissed off about that.
Going to Marseille? Yeah, he wanted us to get him, but
I wonder why he chose to go to Marseille.
No, Marseille too. It's more they're in France, man. You know, Marseille and France is a big club, man, and it's still they're still competitive, right? Marseille still get into Europe regardless if they have a bad season. Yeah, there's a gap between PSG.
They're in Europa League.
No, I mean they went down, but they were in Champions League this year. They got eliminated, right? They've been in Champions the past 2-3 years, and you know right now they're second in the league, so they're always competitive. And right now, Marseille, I mean, they got their squad is a bit stacked, you know, in their own terms, because Tudor is the coach, right? They have Eric Bailly from Man United loaned out. He's over there. You know, Unai just went over there. Hold on. They bought some. What's his name? Veretout. Veretout is at Marseille as well. Olympique Marseille. Olympique. It's a really symbolic club. It's one of those things like think about it. I won't say think about a Roma. Think about what Roma is in Italy, and people wouldn't. Marseille is like that, but they won a Champions League, so they always standings. Tudor is doing some good work, man. Damn, he's second in 21 games. He came at the beginning of the season too, so he's won 14 games, draw 4, lost 3.
We destroyed them in the preseason friendlies.
Right. Yeah, because he was at his beginning as well. So yeah, they have Dimitri Payet. They have Alexis Sanchez is over there. They have Kolasinac from Arsenal. Klaus is a good French prospect defender, by the way. Klaus, really good. Veretout, Ruben, Malinowski went there, by the way. Did you know that? He's at Marseille. Oh, wow. Yeah, Malinowski is there. Ruslan, Paul Lopez. They have Eric Bailly. They have Under. You remember Under from Roma, right? Like
quality.
Yep. So he's there. Guendouzi, Matteo Guendouzi, the player from Arsenal. What you call that? Looking like David Luiz, looking like player. He's there. Tavares Nuno, Simon, Unai, Mbemba, Issa Kabure. Yeah. So their team is it's efficient, I'll say.
Yeah, I've asked you this before. I just can't remember. But is Lookman English or Nigerian?
No, Lookman played in England, but he's from Niger. Lookman, he's Nigerian, but I think he was born.
Does he play for the English national team or Nigeria?
He played for Leeds, though. Let me see.
But does he play for the Nigerian national team?
Nope, he started playing with Nigeria. He Nigeria all the way. He played over 6 games for them.
So right now in Italy, Lookman and Osimhen are the 2 leading scorers.
Yep, both Nigerian counterparts. Mm-hmm.
Nigeria is gonna have it's gonna be champions of African Cup.
No, the thing about don't get that twisted. The thing Nigeria, they remind me of the problem with those teams. The problem when here's what Nigeria suffers from, man, and any Nigerian can attest you to that. Nigeria is almost like in the Algeria mode, but Algeria, they mastered it perfectly. And hear me out on this. They benefit from a lot of leftover players from England, right now. That wasn't the case before, but now, especially starting the 2000s, a lot of new kids coming out to that Nigerian team, they're all born in London, right? So they're tied to the nation by their parents, but it's not like, think about an
Oh, you
American
think we're not
Italian.
going to fight for the club, for the team?
So, and it's not because of that. The chemistry is never there, so they struggle.
Oh, I see.
And usually the Nigerian players that tend to perform are players like the Osimhen that grew up in Nigeria and they go crazy. Because the African Cup of Nations, when you're playing with your national team, is not reflective of your form and in your league when you're playing in Europe and all that cute shit.
But right? Quality is quality, you know. Like
quality is quality, but I'll give you a perfect correlation would be the Messi case. Somebody that grew up, was born in Spain, when he played in Argentina, wasn't always the most clear cut like Messi, Barcelona. You didn't always get that in Argentina. And that's what a lot of Argentinian, a lot of Nigerian players, you know, the ones born in England happened. The same with the Ivory Coast. You know, French Ivorians, you know, that were born in France, their displays is completely different compared to when they come to the Ivory Coast. And a lot of these countries, their legends, they were actually born in the country, right? Or some of them grew up partially in France, but there's a couple of outliers. But when you look at Samuel Eto'o, you understand? The way he performed in Barcelona, when it came time to play for Cameroon, bro, he fucked shit up. Like he was playing like a fucking like guy. He was that guy also in Cameroon. Because these guys, they came through the ranks there.
Yeah, he's quite.
And he went to Spain young, but they came through the ranks there, right? When you look at a Choupo-Moting, right? Choupo-Moting, he was born in Germany. You understand? And he scores goals. Not the best of players, he scores goals. But if you ask the Cameroonian who's their most clutch player, they're gonna tell you it's Vincent Aboubakar. Like that's their clutch guy. And that's how they you know, that's the most important when it comes down to these African teams. So, and the reason I'm saying all of this, look, man, he's killing Atalanta. African Cup of Nations comes around or whatever, he's lost. Because African football becomes completely different. You don't fucking know what to do unless you have a coach that's able to create a system, which Algeria is able to do. So Algeria has all these French guys coming into their team, and they know how to fuck to play because there's a system. But the Sub-Saharan Africa always suffered from individualism, right? Players all playing in different teams. They come together. If it's not a coach to be able to keep y'all compact together, it can become really complicated, man. It can become really complicated because it's only a few teams that got away with that. There's only a few teams that got away with that, you know. The likes of the Senegal, where half of all their players were all born in Senegal, right? 80%. But who's their best player? The best player of that team was born in Senegal, grew up, came up through the Senegalese ranks with his Mane. So, you know, all these foreigners that they benefit from the European academies, right? Doesn't always translate to them performing for a national team. That's what I'm trying to say. And we've seen that over and over. I mean, you know, our favorite Ballon d'Or, our top, only Ballon d'Or in Africa has been who? George Weah, right?
Yeah.
He came through. That dude played in the Ivorian League before he even made his way to France, to Europe. He came a long way. You talking about a player that were resisted, like George Weah came a long way. And because there's more hunger, you know, there's more hunger. You know, Osimhen is able to do Osimhen things because you know where he came from in Nigeria. You see what I'm saying? You know, when I look at the likes of a player like Iwobi, right? He's not. And these players that are born overseas, they're only going to be good if they play in those national teams. Because the moment they decide to switch allegiance and they come, it becomes kind of garbage. Like they're damn near like, it's like, yo, what the fuck? You know, Aubameyang, you know, playing for Gabon, it was like, it wasn't almost the craziest of things. You know, it's not always the case. So yeah, that's what my observation. You know, and I'm somebody that watched extensive, you know, African football. You know, I've watched a lot of it, and it's one of those things. You know, Salah in Egypt is different from Liverpool. That's the bottom line, and people can argue with me how they want. He's completely different. He's not, because the African league, and when I mean league from a national team perspective, is similar to South America, right? You see how South America is hard, it's physical. It's not the conventional way of playing all the time in Europe and Guardiola system and doing none of that. They're physical. You got to go fight for the ball. It's not the best of pitch, so the game becomes different, and you can get really lost quick.
Yeah, I know.
In that type of system. That's why places like people like the DJ Drogba, they strived, right? Yaya Toure, when he was in the national team, it wasn't always the good terms until the last African Cup of Nations. He wasn't always the guy.
That Ivory Coast team was really good. Ivory Coast, like they played really good football.
Yeah, they did. I mean, when we got Ericsson for a little bit for 2010, our football was impeccable. Ericsson that used to train Lazio, Sven Goran, like the English coach, he took us for a little bit. He did, man. They were, but the federations are so corrupt, man. So they like getting cheap, rewashed, recycled coaches from lower leagues in France, and they get these huge salaries in Africa. And you know, and you're seeing all these white coaches on African benches, and you're like, dude, what is this guy's credentials? And it's like they're not even playing perfect football. But I think this World Cup, African teams understood, like, yo, let's trust all national talent. And you saw what Morocco did. It was the first ever World Cup where all African teams all brought their own nationals. We never had that.
Yeah, I mean that's what they should do anyway. So.
And us doing that allowed two teams to go for one of the first times to the you know, the how you call that to the round of 16, and then one went to the semifinals because we had an African coach. So Africans are understanding. So we'll it's yeah, but Lookman, he's good. He doesn't have pressure.
Yeah,
you know, Atalanta, he's not required to come and win.
I saw it right away. That guy was great.
Yeah, so he's good. You know, and you get these guys. You know, from Atlanta does their business right. But I like that other kid, man. That Scandinavian kid is fucking impeccable.
That guy's good too, Hoyland.
Yeah, he's young, but I think he's gonna go for big bucks. We fuck around. Another lower Premier League team is gonna come and scoop that guy. I hope he stays in Italy.
Well, Maldini's trying to get him. Let's see.
Is he? Maldini's been trying to get everybody.
That's the word.
Every day we're linked to a new player, man.
That's what they're saying. But
every day
I don't, at this point, I don't know. I don't even know. It just makes no sense, you know. It just makes not the management, but ownership. The ownership makes no sense to me.
No, they don't, and I agree with you, Roy, on that. They definitely don't. They definitely don't, man. It's I wish I can meet Cardinale. I was trying to add him on LinkedIn so I can email him from there, but
on what, LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I can fucking put him on blast. Be like, hey, dog, how about you invest in my club?
He needs to be told, dude. Like, what are you doing, bro?
He's like, yo, get rid, or sell my club. I don't want you in my club, bro. Fucking Jerry Cardinale. Man.
Yeah. So Sunday, big game, yeah.
Yeah, Sunday, big game, man. It's a 1:45 game. I should be available then. I'm gonna be watching it. You know, I'm not. That's not the games I'm gonna be wearing the jersey, going to some.
Nobody
pub.
believes in the chat.
Going to the pub, bro. If you want to read the chat all the time, man, you'll feel like Milan is about to end forever. It's so sensationalized in the chat. It's like the end of the world. It would not be upset, but like
say names. Why don't you say their names?
No, it's
Come
all
on, name them one by one. Go ahead. Come on, dude.
It's fine. I mean, dude, I don't have to. I don't have to say what needs to be told. You know, all of them are. I mean, all of them, including myself. All of them are. But it's mainly, when my boy Floki come in there, it's like the end of the world, man. Floki, my boy, I always look for his shit, like when he's gonna come and be like, "Yo, this fucking shit league." I'm like, "Oh Lord."
He's convinced that the EPL is going to. Let's see what we. I'm not so convinced that the EPL is going to do so well in Europe this time around.
The year, I guess, since we're coming back from the break, because of the World Cup, we're a bit blurry in terms of like concrete. We don't have where our vision is a bit skewed in terms of be able to project who's going to perform in the Champions League. So I think a good indicator would be after the round of 16, we'll be able to start having the clear cut. Okay, who's going to be good, right? But I feel like this round of 16 is going to be some surprises.
Yeah.
It's going to be some surprise. I reckon PSG goes through because Bayern is struggling right now.
Oh man, that's going to be such a great game, dude.
Even though Mbappe is going to miss the first half because he's injured for 3 weeks, I think. But they still got Messi, Neymar. I mean, it's more even balanced when all three of them are not there. So I reckon they're going to do some damage. Ramos is not there as well, but Bayern is not in the best of form, man. They're not. They're not. Another coach that's killing, and also speaking of German teams that been on the radar, is Xabi Alonso. Even though he lost 2 games in a row right now, but dude, he's been doing miracles. He's underrated right now, man. He's been doing some good work. Xabi Alonso's been doing some good work.
Who? Oh, Xabi Alonso.
Yeah, Xabi Alonso. Yeah, the player. Yeah, he's the coach of Bayern Leverkusen right now.
Yeah. He kind of got it right. He started winning right away, right? So he's a little bit unique. That
no, but he was coaching, and prior to Leverkusen right now they're 9th, and they got more games, so 31st. What was Xabi Alonso before that? He was coaching somewhere, and they called him in because they called him in, and Xabi Alonso as a coach. Okay, he was at Real Sociedad B. Yeah, he's at Real Sociedad. He was in the B team. And then 2022, I think, he came into 2022. I think mid-season or something, he came in. So, but the reason why I like coaches, the ones that play that type of midfield are kind of like smart players, smart movement, because Xabi Alonso is a really smart midfielder, right? Not the trickster type. They're in the long run, they become good coaches. Like they're good architects, just because of their playing style, but the way of seeing the game, I think sometimes is always healthy as well. Because I look at the likes of Terta, right? And Xabi Alonso had a really good career, probably one of the best careers, in his life. One of the top. I think he won everything. I think he was part of that World Cup team yet. Oh, maybe they didn't call him in 2008. Let me check. He won the World Cup. He won 2 Euros. Yeah, he won everything. He won the Champions League. Yeah, we talking about the guys that, he did his thing. Da Terta. Guardiola played defensive midfield. He was a defender. Rijkaard, midfielder. I think they end up there. Carlo Ancelotti, midfielder. I feel those midfields, there's a characteristic with them being good architects in terms of like their coaching style,
right? Because they have to look at the game for a 360-degree.
Yep, and those are guys. They've been good. Xabi, he's doing his thing.
Even Allegri was a midfielder.
Huh?
Even Allegri was a midfielder.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Corto Muso, Allegri acting like he played as fucking Maldini or Chiellini back in his days. Fucking A, bro.
Pioli was a midfielder. No,
he was a defender.
A defender.
It's crazy. Yeah. Pioli was on that Champions League team with Platini and them.
Yeah.
That won. That's crazy. You bastard.
So he knows what it's like to win the Champions League, man. So
yeah,
Jamal, I think we're gonna beat Liverpool. Yeah, I think we're gonna beat them.
Do we have a chance against Tottenham?
I mean, Tottenham.
Tottenham. The only X factor for Tottenham is the game against Inter is gonna give me a good scope or a final decision about how we're gonna do against Tottenham, because it's with Tottenham, you just got to be worried about their movements. They're not static, right? Kane is not a Giroud. Kane drops deep. He moves around a lot, He starts taking players out of position. How does that translate, right? Does Pioli has an attack, some type of system for that to be able to counter it when Kane starts dropping and having players moving left to right in the sun and all those guys, right? And that's going to be the real question there. What are we going to be doing, right? The Calabria needs support. Who are we going to be having to plug those holes? Who's going to be the body in the middle bullying? Because Conte, best believe, he has Hoiberg, which is he'll bully for him in the midfield. Kulusevski is playing, is probably in the best of forms.
It's going to
Him
be
personally.
I saw some videos of Tottenham. They're looking really good right now, actually. They're looking like really good.
And they got like one of the right backs that they wanted, Pablo Porro from Sporting. They wanted him so bad, so they were able to acquire him. So, so Leao's going to go against one of his old guys. So it's
yeah, Leao not renewing yet pretty much tells us where this is going to.
Yeah, it's not. They just need conquering the project.
So,
I mean, at this point, can I be mad at the player? I can't be mad because you don't want to also commit to something that's not going to be committed to you. At this point, I don't even think Leao is even because of the money. Yes, money might be a factor, but I think it's also the sporting project, right? I don't think these players have clarity. I don't think Leao has clarity, right? But it's
well, I mean, the latest reports are about the clause. He wants a lower clause. And what the fuck was that? Did you see his? I'm sure you did. His Instagram post about him in France saying, I shouldn't. Something about pleasing other people. Don't lose yourself pleasing others, or something like that. With a picture of him next to the Eiffel Tower.
I don't know what
Have you
that
seen
meant.
that?
I didn't see it. Nope.
Yeah, it looks like he signed for PSG pretty much.
I mean, yeah, he can go there. I mean, that's where he want to go. But at least Milan can sell him. That's all I want them to do. I just want them to at least sell him. I think that would be fair for us. That's all I can wish for because it's not. Yeah, I don't think it'll be fair for him to just walk on him free. If Leo actually walks on him free, then I'll be pissed. Now, if they're talking about putting a $7 million clause, put a fucking $7 million clause, man. Put the clause in. I don't care. Put it in.
But you can sell them for way more, bro.
Yeah, if you can sell, they're selling from way for way more than. But
yeah, I saw his statements, Rock.
Put him in. It's at this point, I don't want to. I don't want to lose him for a free because even if it's 70 million, at least we're getting something off of him. We made Leao and what he is today. That's just the bottom line. That's just the bottom line, and it's they do what they want, man. Milan is still gonna stand. The fans are still gonna be here, bro. We saw the likes of Kaká, Sheva leave, bro. I'm not gonna lose sleep over Leao. I'm not. I'm definitely not. I saw my idol retire in Maldini. I'm not gonna leave sleep over Leao. Nope.
Dude, you saw people today in the WhatsApp chat were saying that Maldini out.
I don't know about that, man. I can't concur. I'm glad I didn't see it.
Dude.
They say I'm a Maldini. It's fine. I like Maldini. So he's my odd not only as a player. Yes, he has some mistake, but Maldini, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. What?
I don't know about that, dog. We're way too greedy. We're way too fucking greedy right now. I understand, we're shit, but boy, I think we need reminders to know where the fuck were we at years ago. I think that needs to come back. I think
so.
No,
I'm just responding to Chuck and Rock. Yeah, I saw his. They're saying it's all fake, but the thing to me is that it kind of reminds me of the Kessie situation. So I don't know how much stock I'm going to put into what agents say. Agents are just. I guess you got to be a little bit of a scumbag to be an agent.
Yeah, which I was in the book is what I was reading. What Raiola used to do, and I'm pretty sure you guys are probably aware, is how they leverage other players to move pieces around to get their players a certain deal or get their players in a specific team.
Yeah. That's what Mendes tried to do. He tried to get Leao to Chelsea. He tried to get Cristiano Ronaldo to Milan in order to get Leao to Chelsea.
Yep. And so Raiola, they're talking about how Ferguson wrote in his book how he hated. He told Raiola, "You a scumbag." With the whole Pogba deal, he's like, "Why would you?" Because Pogba, coach tried to have face to face, and it kind of like the Donnarumma situation. And he spoke to him, and Raiola broke it down to him. He's like, "Yo, we only sign under these conditions. If not, we move him." You know, and Ferguson hated that, and he moved Pogba to Juve at the time, and he was good at just getting in the bad side. He was good at getting players what they want, but he's also good at getting bad side on the coach's bad side. He hated him. Ferguson didn't like him at all. Alex Ferguson didn't like him at all. And it's same when you look at the Donnarumma situation. I mean, from a player perspective, yes, you want the agent that can get you the most money. From a fan perspective, from a sporting perspective, yeah, we don't like it. But also, let's not forget, a team can be really cruel about rescinding your contract. You're doing the cheap stuff. It doesn't go your way. You get an injury because you also want to protect your family and protect your assets when you're thinking about stuff, right? You're not playing for 50 years. Your lifespan as a football player can be really short as well, right? It can be
look at
5 years.
Look at what Milan is doing with Ali, poor guy. I mean,
right? The whole Ali thing.
Yeah,
I want to understand the basis of why he got acquired in the first place, and why he's not playing.
Yep, I don't know.
Because at this point, it's like, if it's a discipline issue, then you'll understand, like, okay, he's playing with Primavera people, right? He's excluded. If it's an injury issue, you'll probably know. There'll be an injury report. But it's so odd. And I feel like it's just purely, man. I feel like purely being stubborn. I feel like Maldini, after a while, they can't force him to play certain players. I feel like Adli was more of a Maldini Moncada operation, and I don't think Pioli was too fond of. That's why I feel. That's my speculation on this. They saw the opportunity. Maybe Moncada's like, "Yo, go get this guy." They went and got him.
We got him towards the end of the Calciomercato, I think, right?
Yep, and he stayed there on loan. Yeah, which the kid is good, right? In France, they say he's a good player. He's young, but he needs to play. Then loan him. Then why Adli is not being loaned now? Right? You could have easily loaned him even back to
that's another thing. It's like, why didn't they just loan him? It's like they need him for training or something. Like what?
It's just whatever the excuse is. Whatever the excuse is, the scope of it right now, the way we're viewing it doesn't look good. So that's just the bottom line, with him. Having him on the team, it makes no sense at all. It's I'm not understanding this is the decisions, and I'm not understanding purely some of his doing sometimes. It's just I don't know, man. I don't know. What about you saw Kessie, man? Kessie, I think they're gonna loan him up because they were trying to get Amrabat.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
The operation was really dumb. I might Barcelona really think like
Amrabat was all about it.
But he almost shot himself in the foot because he's lucky he doesn't have crazy coaches. You do that shit, your season is over with the team. Not showing up to training and try to do. Not saying he did that, but try to force a move. And Comiso is not about to do that. You saw how the whole Vlahovic, he's hard-headed. They're not gonna agree on these conditions. They're not gonna strengthen Barcelona and still weaken their league. They still think about those things too. No. But I reckon I think Liverpool comes for him in the summer. I think he goes to Liverpool. Huh?
That's exactly what we need. We need a
player. Well, I'm about to our team, but I feel like we go to Fiorentina and they up the price to 60 mil, 50 mil, and knowing that the dude's in his late 20s.
Yep.
Why would you want to get that, right? It's he's always been good too, though. Amrabat's always been solid, man. He's a Juventus type player. Yeah. You think Simone Inzaghi stays at Inter after this year?
Don't know. I mean, who else is there?
I don't even think Anthony's in the position even to stop being coaches. No, I was trying to say, I mean, they could always win and get a Juric. I think Juric is scheduled for a big team after Torino.
He plays good football. I like his football, man.
It's really intense.
Yeah.
But Croatians,
He'd be a good fit for Milan, I think.
Croatians, they got that mold, man. Croatians is a footballing from a coaching perspective, from a player perspective. Because when you look at even Dalic, like the Croatian national coach,
yeah,
he has a good system with his team, and he's been consistent with that. You even look at, what's that? I forgot the name. He used to take West Ham. He wasn't bad at all. Other Croatian coach. You got Tudor, now you got Juric. Other Croatian coach. It's a similar style of play. Leonakovic, that goalie, he hasn't moved yet. I wonder who's going to make the move for him.
What about Guardiola? Did he move?
No, Guardiola, not yet. I'm surprised Chelsea, with all that buying they're doing, they didn't get him. I'm surprised. You see what I'm saying? I'm surprised. All that buying Chelsea is doing, I'm surprised they didn't go and get Guardiola.
Where's he playing? He's playing in Germany, right?
He plays with Leipzig. I'm surprised. I reckon he goes to Madrid. Since Chelsea, they already booked with a lot of defenders. I reckon he goes to Madrid.
Damn.
Because Madrid did a good job at having a new transitioning, core of young players. They do.
Yeah.
You look at Tchouaméni, you look at Camavinga, you look at Vinicius, you look at Rodrigo's getting better by the day. I reckon he's going to be probably a better player. Rodrigo, that kid, he gets better by the day.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Rodrigo, they have Valverde. All these dudes they're under 25.
Yeah, no, Real Madrid is doing the right thing.
So I think if they can get in Guardiola, because Guardiola can have a starting spot within that defense. They still got Militao. Militao is also young. Right, Rudiger is a little bit older. You move Alaba to the right side. What he's usually used to be playing. You bring in Guardiola. You have a good rotation. You have a good-ass rotation. All they really need now is to really get a proper 9. And I think they're going to be really patient in the market. What number 9 to get? And I think the final touch is going to be Mbappe to Madrid.
I already know Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Mbappe, that's a cherry on the cake.
Yep, that's it. You get Mbappe to Madrid, and you got a super level team now. You got a super level team. Because you have him up there up forward, that's it. Because that's all they miss. And I think that's why they're saving money. Because right now, Madrid they're sitting on a fucking pot of cash. Because they haven't went crazy on the transfers. They didn't do no transfer this year, right? They're still within reach of Barcelona. They're good. The past 3 years, they've been competitive. They won the league. They won the Champions League. I mean, there's nothing you can really complain about. There's no reason for Ancelotti to be getting fired. His job is safe at the moment. So I think when they bring the Mbappe, maybe that's when, if Tuchel is still available, he might go into a Madrid and now use those type of crop of players. But I think they're waiting attentively for the good number 9 to come. And I think they're going to be really patient about that.
If I was them, I'd get Osimhen.
Yeah, it's for me. It's just like how healthy can Osimhen stay? That's my only thing with him. It's how healthy can he stay?
Mourinho talked crap about Osimhen.
No, he said he's similar to Drogba, but what did he say? He said
that he dives too much.
Yeah, but Drogba used to die. It's because when Mourinho's a sore loser sometimes, so he'll say whatever to taunt other players. It's but yeah, Osimhen is Osimhen. If I'm Osimhen too, after you win the Scudetto, you leave. Another club comes knocking, leave. Because your check is not going to get any bigger. You leave, you go. You did what you had to do at Napoli. That's it. You leave. You know, and if I'm Napoli, I'll sell him too.
Osimhen?
Yes.
For how much?
I sell him for over 100 mil. You get two even closer to his range, then you solidify yourself not only in Italy, but then you compete in Europe. Because Osimhen is still going to be a big question mark because his injury. I'm telling you, bro. Next year, I smell injuries coming his way. He looks like an injury-prone player to me. Straight up. Straight up. So right now, while you riding the wave of him scoring the goals, keep it, book it, win the league.
Why does he seem like an injury-prone player?
Man, he's old.
Come on, bro. Stop that, dude.
Okay, all right. You know, he's old. He's gonna start getting injured
He's
soon.
not old. Stop.
Right. We'll have this conversation 5 years from now if he's still around.
All right, we'll see in 5 years.
Yep. We'll see. And I can be completely wrong. I'll be like, I was wrong, but we'll see.
I mean, look, I told you, like, the thing that always like took me by surprise was how mature he is as a player. And then when I found out that he was only 22 at the time, that even like but I come on, dude. I don't want to believe it.
I know, hey, I hear you, man. That just me, yo, right? That's just my take on it, but that's just how I feel about, you know. I just if I'm Napoli, I'm wise enough. I will sell Osimhen. I will sell him.
Yeah,
I will sell him because I will sell him because I think your future Napoli, your future is Vizca. Because the thing about strikers is once they get found out, sometimes they can be shut down, right? And I think this is one of the first season actually Osimhen is having a full season. We can all agree. You understand? Like all the other seasons, it was half. He wasn't really there. This I think is the first season where he's been playing games on a consistent basis, right? So hasn't been studied too much. And I'm not saying, I'm not reviewing from his talent. He is good, right? He put himself in these positions and his height. He knows how to utilize his height and his speed. It's not always the case for a lot of players. He's good with that. But, you know, after a while, when that Vizca for me is the oddball, right? Because somebody that can shoot with both foot, you have to be worried about that. You know, he's not one-dimensional. And he's the one maybe you fight to keep. You know, forward, you just need somebody that drives the ball up there, somebody that, you know, that puts it in the bank. You get it. But if 100 mil comes down for Osimhen, come on, bro. You sell him. You know, price gouge these fucking Serie A teams. And if he doesn't perform there, guess what? You get him back for free. Lukaku style. Like Chelsea, bro. Hey, man. Who you But that's the new wave, man. You saw Griezmann? Griezmann goes to Barcelona. They sell him for 120-something million. He doesn't perform. What happens? They send him right back to fucking Atletico Madrid for 20 or 40-something million. And sometimes I feel like players getting complicit with these teams, be like, yo, just this underperformed there. And they're like, okay. And you come back for cheap. I don't know. I believe in that conspiracy.
Wait, say again?
Now, so sometimes I feel like, you know, like players plot with their team, be like, yo, we'll sell you to this team for whatever and just underperform over there and then come back. And they don't perform and they're like, yo, what the fuck? And they sell you back for cheap. Right? Because I'm looking at the Griezmann deal like with Barcelona is fucking ridiculous. Right?
Yes.
And he goes back for fucking cheap and that's accepted. And you're gonna see Inter with Lukaku. I mean, Lukaku, I don't know, bro. Do you ever think he's gonna regain his form, man?
I don't know. They're saying that his form is better. That's what they're saying. I don't know how true that is.
I think he needs motivation. I think at this point, there's no doubts in the fight, right? Motivation in terms of, I feel like players usually perform when they want to go to a World Cup or like some type of tournament, right? Other than if they want to win an individual trophy. But when they're in a slump, your team is not winning nothing. I don't know. Personally, I feel like to regain your form like top, man, you need some serious motivation. And can Inzaghi give that to him? I don't fucking know.
right? Lukaku's been healthy for a while now, for at least a month. He hasn't even
Yeah,
been
he
starting.
definitely operates better with coaches that revolve the game around him, kind of thing.
Yeah, because they're not really revolving, and Dziko's been starting. I always like so.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Here's another striker that I feel a lot of, I won't say casual fans, but they really forget who Edin Dzeko is as a guy, and I feel like a lot of people, their notion of Dzeko is maybe Roma Dzeko. For me, it was like, yo, what the fuck. Like, if you follow Zeko's career, like people, because when they see, and the reason why I say this based on people's reaction, oh my god, yo, Zeko, you know, Zeko's been, he'll score certain goals. I'm like, dude, do you know who? I started following Edin Zeko since Wolfsburg. I mean, everybody knew in Europe before he got that Man City move. I mean, he was the biggest striker in Europe. The way he scores, he's tall, he can dribble, he'll score left to right. Like, he's not a fluke forward. And I'm only saying that because a lot of people be surprised, what some of his performance at Inter. And I don't know if I won't say he's being underrated, but I don't know if they don't really know who he is, as a guy. Like, Edin Dzeko, like, come on. He's put fear in people, man. Zeko's not.
Yeah, but he's going towards the end of his career. Yeah?
No, and yeah, of course, right? And even that. Because I feel, and the reason why I say that, it almost feels like I feel people don't even give him credit for even what he was when he was young. Like, as a player. That team, like, they shown that Wolfsburg team, what they did to that Bayern, they got them out to win. They won that league, went and performed, and went to the Prem. And they know what he was doing with Aguero. And it's just, I always respect him as a forward, man. He's always professional, does what he's supposed to do the way he needs to contribute, right? He uses his height. That's another player that uses his height the right way. And players like him, since they didn't base their game on speed, they have longevity in the game. I noticed that a lot. And that's why he's able to play like the way he has to play now, right? And I feel like probably that's why Lukaku is struggling, because he's a guy, bodies you, try to speed with you. It's me personally, I feel like he's weak-minded, and I have a problem with players that don't have strong
Lukaku?
mentality. Yes, I have players that don't have strong mentality, because the reason why I say he's a weak-minded player, I was Lukaku, I would have stayed at Chelsea to prove my point and fight up, not leave. You gave up, that's a loser's mentality, because nobody forced you to make that move, right? I'm a firm believer. One of my ideologies is like, yo, when you shit in your bed, you lay in it, and you do that. That's a winner's mentality. Even you find adversity, but the moment you find little adversity, you ask for a move. Going back to Inter, that, I have something to say. You're doing an interview. No, you wanted to go there. Don't come and pay interview and try to paint yourself. You wanted to go to Chelsea. You said you haven't finished business there. Nobody asked you. Yeah, this club wanted to sell you. You could have said no, right? And that's why I feel like he's being weak-minded, and the way he's operating even now, I don't, man. I don't respect that. That's just me. So I don't rate the guy. Yeah, he has a talent. I don't diffuse, but I don't rate him in terms of the way he thinks, and I don't know him personally, but just from what I've seen, I don't respect it. And you would assume you're back at Inter, then you fight for your place, right? You come back and you prove, but you're not even performing. So I don't know what is this to say. Where else he's gonna ask to go back to Chelsea? I don't know. Chelsea's gonna have to move a lot of players also, because Bakayoko is still one of their players. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Bakayoko. They have Ziyech, Pulisic, Havertz,
Timo
Werner. A lot of players that they got to figure out what to do with them.
And Ziyech, I feel bad for the Ziyech move, but the Moroccan coach wasn't a fan of even Ziyech moving to PSG. He said, if you're not starting at Chelsea, you're definitely not going to start at PSG, where it's even harder to start. Why would you want to go there? And these players.
Is that what the Moroccan coach said?
Yeah, the Moroccan coach, yes.
Really?
Yeah, 11 Mondial, yeah. I was reading it.
Wow.
it's one of the things is this summer a lot of these African players are gonna start. The ones that are not starting, they're gonna start looking for clubs where they can actually have guaranteed playing time because the African Cup of Nations is in 2024 and it's in January, and they want to hit the ground running as soon as they can. And they're not gonna sit around try to sit on no bench, especially if you have a team that's competitive, right? Like your Morocco, your
Yeah,
Algeria.
Morocco probably wants to
Like
try and win it.
like Adli is gonna try to move because even it was brought on in the Algerian media, and they were even alluding. They're like, well, he has talent, but your talent is no good if you don't play. And I think was it the Algerian coach? Somebody from within the Algerian sphere was alluding to that with Adli. So he's gonna understand, like, bro, I need to play because I want to play the African Cup of Nation, right? War, right? I'm pretty sure he plays at Morocco. They're gonna want to be moving around. So, and I'm saying this, Milan can take advantage of those opportunities, right? For some of the African that won't guarantee you playing time. I know that AFCON might come around, but take advantage of that. Start looking, who can I go and get, that we can get to our team, like a talented African player we can go and poach. That would be a good way to start seeing things because they're gonna get moved around. 2024, you also have Copa America coming to the US. I'm excited for that.
Copa America to the US.
Yep, next year. Mm-hmm. It's
Gonna
gonna
watch,
be kind of like
to
the
TV?
centenario format, like they did in 2016. 2016, I deployed, so I was just watching on TV. But this time, I'll be able to go to a game for sure.
Are you gonna go to the stadium? Are you gonna try and watch the games?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm in Houston, so definitely there's gonna be a game here at the NRG, or even if I go back home to DC. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna go to the stadium. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go, and my girlfriend's Colombian, so I will go and probably go and support Colombia. But I'm gonna be with my US team for sure, though. I believe that we will win. Start singing that stupid song. Americans are so dumb, man. We're so casual, man. It's fun watching football with sometimes American folks. It's so the questions they ask are so funny.
Yeah.
For them, when they watch a game, is that Chelsea? Does Chelsea play in this league? Like if they're watching Serie A, they'll ask you, "Is Pulisic? That's Pulisic's team? The team in blue?" Like, no, bro. Come on. It's we're so fucking funny.
Yeah,
We're innocent asking the dumbest question, not knowing what it is. Man, it's interesting. The reason I don't like it, football has become a hipster thing too.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I'm not a fan of that.
Totally hipster.
It became a hipster thing because of TikTok, right? The whole fashion jersey thing. So people are getting into it, not really knowing what's what, but watching it because since it's not popular in the state, not to a certain extent, people are easing their way. Hipsters are easing their way in, thinking it's cool. No, leave it. And I'm warning all y'all hipsters, man. No, leave it. Leave that alone.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, man.
All right, my man. Listen, I'm gonna close.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Good chatting. We'll catch up
good stuff. And when you're gonna have a pregame live, or it's gonna be just Sunday after the game?
I'm not sure.
We'll see. But yeah, I'll be in the chat anyways. But all right, Roy. Yeah.
All right.
Take care,
Have
bro.
a good one, man. Have a good night.
Yep.
Guys, everybody in chat, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Nasty is in Cosenza still. Nasty's still in Cosenza. Oh, I'm not even watching these right now. It's just going automatically. But anyway, everybody, thank you. Forza Milan. We will destroy Inter. We'll destroy Tottenham. Milan will come back to its glory. Everybody have a good night. Peace out. Like the video. Subscribe. Do all that good stuff. Later.